Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. Phone number to join the program, 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC or WOWO at the beginning of that message, depending on the audience that you're in. I do want to thank our sponsors, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. 10 dedicated shooting lanes, rifle and pistol. And if you mention me, you get half off your range time. All right, so we have some interesting things to talk about today. First up is we've got this situation with Iran. So now the president is saying that he actually stopped a strike on Iran. And that's kind of interesting if you look at this, because he's getting a lot of support. I was talking about this at Pass the Mic today. He's getting a lot of support from people who typically don't support him. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people who want Iran to be dealt with. A lot of folks think that this is the time for a military strike. And you're, by the way, welcome to let us know if that's how you feel at 574-25-95-95.3. But the president felt that it wasn't the right time and it wasn't proportional, considering it was an unmanned drone that was shot down. And he did say, and I guess some people have spun this to be something other than really what it was supposed to be. He did say that he thought that it was a mistake, that sort of thing. He didn't say it was an accident. He was basically saying there could be some overzealous Iranian who just did this unilaterally, that it wasn't an order or what have you. Not really sure. But he said that we were cocked and loaded to strike Iran, and that he called off the operation about 10 minutes before the operation kicked off. And part of the reason that he did that is he asked one of the generals what the body count was estimated to be, and they said approximately 150 people. So when he heard that, he said, you know what, it's an unmanned drone they shot down. I'm not going to kill 150 people over an unmanned drone. So he called it off. Iran, according to the New York Times anyway, Iran says that Trump actually notified them of an impending strike. I don't know if that's true or not, just telling you what the New York Times is reporting. Now, yesterday during the show, we were looking up and we saw that the president was meeting with congressional leaders from both the House and the Senate, from both parties. And I was saying, I wonder if they're advising him to strike Iran or if they're advising him to not strike Iran. Well, now we have the answer to that. They were advising him to strike. There's a lot of people who are in the government who want Iran dealt with militarily and have, going back to the hostage crisis. And a lot of those same people are still there. And by the way, there are justifiable reasons to want to get rid of Iran. So I actually was polling everybody at Pass the Mic today, which we were doing at Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. I said, you know, how many of you think that we'd be better off without Iran? Pretty much the entire room's hands went up. But then I asked, how many of you feel that the time is right to strike? And I don't know, maybe a quarter of the hands went up. Then I asked how many said it's not the time to strike, and about a quarter. And I think there was, you know, about half of them that just weren't really dead set. They didn't have any idea if this was the right time or not, didn't have enough information. So there were certainly a lot of people in the government that have been advocating for war with Iran for quite some time. And as much as I love General Mattis is one of those people. And again, I wouldn't be upset if we went to war with Iran. But if you're going to go to war under the right circumstances, under your terms, that sort of thing. And the military strike on Iran might very well lead to that. You also have to factor in Israel, because Israel is going to be a part of this. Obviously, Hezbollah is funded by Iran. They're armed by Iran. They're trained by Iran. And Hezbollah will certainly launch attacks on Israel to coax Israel into it. If you coax Israel into it, we're dealing with the same situation we're dealing with the first Gulf War. If Israel gets involved in that conflict, your coalition falls apart and that sort of thing. So, I mean, there's no doubt that Iran loses this thing. But at the same time, we have been fighting for a long time. Is it time to take a break, not get involved in another conflict in the Middle East? The Pentagon put out a release after the bombings of the oil tankers, and they said that we wanted to make it crystal clear that we are not interested in another war in the Middle East right now. We're not seeking war with Iran, none of this stuff. So even after the Pentagon had released all of this, basically saying, look, everybody relax. We're not trying to get into a gunfight here with Iran. Iran shoots down the drone. Now, this is different than shooting down military aircraft that have people in it like Saddam Hussein was doing after the first Gulf War, which is one of the reasons we went to war with him again. Everybody forgets this little aspect of it. First of all, everybody lies to you about weapons of mass destruction. There, in fact, were weapons of mass destruction that's now been declassified. The inspectors the month before found brand new chemical warheads in Iraq's arsenal. We now know that ISIS has taken some of the sarin and mustard gas that Saddam had hidden from inspectors and used it. So that's how ISIS got all of their chemical weapons, by the way. They actually come from Saddam's stockpile. We ended up learning years and years later that the U.S. was keeping them under lock and key inside the country, and everybody was shocked and awed when ISIS actually found them. So this isn't something that's in dispute anymore. There's no anybody out there who says there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq right now is just fundamentally ignorant and hasn't paid attention. So that includes a lot of you journalists too, by the way. So then you have the other aspect of it, which was Saddam Hussein was attacking airplanes from the coalition in the no-fly zones routinely. He shot some of them down, okay, but he fired at them on a regular basis. Most of the time, coalition aircraft were able to evade, but he did shoot some down. And I wrote a whole article many years ago, exactly what would justify war to the pacifist hordes. It's a paraphrase. And I kind of went over all of this because nobody talks about it. But this is different. It's an unmanned drone. There's not a human being there. There's not a pilot inside, that sort of thing. So the president's position was, I'm not going to kill 150 people when none of our people were even in any jeopardy. Because then it's an escalation, then Iran will escalate, and it'll be a whole thing. And then you got to deal with the UN too. And as much as I hate the UN, you still got to deal with their crying about it. You killed 150 people. They didn't even jeopardize anybody on your side. Of course, you could easily go back at them and say, what about these tankers? The Navy, by the way, has released more evidence that it was the Iranians with those tankers. I have questions too about the tankers, how they got the limpet charges on the side of the boats without anybody noticing it. I'm with you on that, okay? But at the same time, this isn't one of those cases where you have the Navy going out there and telling you something and then not providing any evidence like Congress does with Russian hacking. This is the Navy saying, here's a video, here's photographs, here's satellite photographs, here's all this stuff that we have about it. And, oh, by the way, some of the stories from the sailors seem to corroborate the official line. So there's definitely something going on. And right now, all of the evidence points at Iran. Of course, Iran denies it, just letting everybody know. So you could theoretically come back with, well, Iran was jeopardizing lives when they bombed 6 tankers. The 2 of them are recently former from last month.
Can I get your first?
On Monday, they shot down an unmanned drone flying in international waters. Trump tweeted Friday morning, referencing Iran. We were cocked and loaded to retaliate last night on 3 different sites. When I asked how many will die, 150 people, sir, was the answer from a general. 10 minutes before the strike, I stopped it, not proportionate to shooting down an unmanned drone. I am in no hurry. Our military is rebuilt, new, and ready to go. By far the best in the world. Sanctions are biting, and more added last night. Iran can never have nuclear weapons, not against the USA and not against the world. So the president tweeted out, he's like, look, this wouldn't be proportionate. I didn't do it. We were ready to do it, but they can't get nuclear weapons. So he still put the caveat in there, basically telling Iran, who's now threatened to up their uranium enrichment, if you keep doing this, you're going to poke the bear enough. And eventually we're going to strike. Right now, I'm showing you that I'm merciful and that I won't strike because Iran, like everybody else knows, we can strike anywhere we want, whenever we want, and there's nothing they can do about it. We're one of the only countries in the world who has that capability. And so Iran knows this. So when he tweets these things out, Iran sees that, and then Iran is able to go ahead and make whatever decision they want to make. But their decisions as of late have not been very wise. So we'll take some phone calls on this. We've got more coming up. Don't forget we're live streaming on youtube.com/CaseyTheHost and twitch.tv/CaseyTheHost. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, all of that stuff. We have more coming up. 95.3 MNC and covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM.
We're on the Weather Watch 24 hours a day, on air, and on your smartphone with weather alerts.
Yeah. Fox should be on that TV. And
Casey Hendrickson.
I don't know. Was I not in the station audio? I pressed 2. Did it not go to the station audio?
You should have been broadcast. Oh, US 20 eastbound, between State Road 1933 exits, the right lane is closed.
Okay. Swizzo Dizzo.
I think there's like a semi with a flat tire that I'm trying to get that fixed and everything.
Okay.
And then I go understand the difference.
Cool deal.
I'm
having an issue with my show prep.
Yup.
Yup. All of the stuff that I just had in there is gone.
Early tomorrow morning. Early so far, most of Saturday looks dry, just maybe an isolated shower storm possible. Otherwise, we'll still see some sunshine at times, and temperatures warming up to 76 degrees. Now, it's not as sunny for Sunday.
That's
We're behind
interesting.
82, definitely getting very muggy across the area, with scattered showers and thunderstorms moving in mainly the second half of the day. And with it, some of them could be strong.
Hey, just because she's been here one day
For Monday, still a few
doesn't
showers
mean you get to
and
say mean
thunderstorms
things about her.
hanging on. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Kennedy.
I won't let him call you useless too much. So Angie is joining us. I know that she is texting all of you or chatting with you anyway. So we did Pass the Mic today. The smallest crowd for Pass the Mic ever that we have ever had. And that is because it is friggin' beautiful outside. First, is it official? It is the first official day. So, oh man, it is awesome outside.
So apparently, Stryker's in the building.
This is Dr. Roger.
He's just dead?
Many
He's just
of you
not,
have
like,
been in
on air.
trouble with your teeth for years.
Oh, okay.
You've been
So,
wanting
I
to
don't
do
know
something about
why,
it, but you have lots of
but
questions.
he's been in the
and you're
building for a
afraid.
while.
At Apton, we believe in patient
I haven't seen him,
dentistry.
and
That
usually I
means
see him
we're
twice a
really
day.
listen to what you have
Well,
to say.
according to
We're helping
John,
make
he's dead.
decisions based on
John
your
has said he has
individual
seen
needs
It's a conspiracy. He's dead.
to attain your dental
Stryker
goals.
is dead.
Dentures are in your future. Apton is the place for you. Our dentures are custom made right here in our own lab in Mishawaka. Should you need to have teeth removed, we offer complete oral surgery care, and your dentures will be placed at the same time.
So, how many people did I add on YouTube yesterday? Made a big push for YouTube. So, well, not a big push. I just asked everybody. I added 100 people last night on YouTube.
Added 100.
I had 100 new subscribers last night. Basically, I just went on Facebook. I'm like, because I went over 7,300 on Facebook. I'm like, that's awesome. But can like all 7,300 of you like my channel?
Right.
Please.
That's a great though, 100. Wow.
And so 100 of them did it last night. So that was great.
Andrew's a cutie pie.
Any price range and in any location.
Oh, Jesus.
I am not a realtor or associated with any realty company. I'm a private real estate investor who buys.
Roland came out. It was good to see him out there. I haven't seen Roland in a
Call
while.
me at 574-294-5678. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me their rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
Truck owners know the best way to protect their investment.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my prep is just disappearing on me.
Visit the Z-Bart of South Bend, when top quality truck accessories are installed by highly trained professionals.
Sorry, I'm not chatting as much, folks. I'm actually trying to find some stuff that I'd saved,
Choose from upgrades like tonneau covers,
and
step bars, brush guards.
for some reason they're just not
Need I go on?
showing up.
Pads, mud flaps, trailer hitches, toolboxes, roof racks, bed rails, fender flares, rust proofing for the bottom, and rhino lining for the bed. And the unmatched protection of ceramic Z-Gloss. I think you get the point. Z-Bart of South Bend is your destination for top quality.
My van is done for my Z-Gloss.
Has been ensuring your
Gotta pick it up at some
vehicle
point.
works and functions exactly how you want it to. Come on in and customize your ride today. Get the performance you want and the quality you deserve. Z-Bart of South Bend is your automotive appearance and protection experts. Call 574-232-2073 or stop by the showroom at 2627 South Main in South Bend today.
Organize your home with Closet Mate and save with 11% off everything at Menards. Closet-made products add the finishing touch to your
Oh,
home.
no,
Like
no, no,
closet
no.
kits are perfect for closets, laundry rooms, or kitchen pantries. They're easy to assemble, and you can customize shelves to fit your space. There's no limit to what you can create. Save with 11% off everything at Menards. Good through June 22nd. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Thank you for calling Boring Office Company.
Elon Musk has an office company now.
That's what I.
As a union
Yeah.
carpenter,
It's the first thing I thought of. Welcome to Boring Office Company.
Some of the best pay in the industry. Get great benefits and even earn a debt-free college degree.
Ants from a passenger's carry-on bag took a whole plane out of service.
75,000 men and women in Indiana.
Do you want ants? This is how you get ants.
Start your career. Visit the construction industry partners
Archer's
at
the best.
indianacid.com. Weather every 10 minutes on the 6th and a complete wrap-up of all of the day's news and sports.
29. Remember, 29.
Down.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. I see some people on the live chat talking about Jussie Smollett. There has been a development in the Jussie Smollett case. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the program. And don't forget, starting at 5 o'clock, it is open lines. You can call about anything that you want. We basically turn the show over to you. And now, just warning you, sometimes that leads to some crazy people calling. Okay, that happens. In fact, I was just talking to somebody who was at the Learner here recently. We had an astronaut come to the Learner. And so it was the people who went and saw him. I wanted to go so bad, but I didn't get to go. The people who went and saw him, he said, there's a lot of 4th and 5th graders. He goes, you would not believe the number of them that are flat earthers. Would not believe the number of them. Talking to an astronaut who had a slide in his presentation, the earth is not flat. Because you would not believe it. So you never know what's going to happen in the 5 o'clock hour, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 Wawa 107.5 FM. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Back to the phone lines we go. Jamie, welcome to the program.
Hey, Casey, how are you doing?
I'm well, man. What's up?
Well, I wanted to share my thoughts about President Trump showing a tremendous amount of restraint. I think that his analysis of the proportionality is a reasonable one. I would also have fully supported the attack, but a lot of folks, a lot of the haters seem to criticize Trump, suggesting that he's got no control and no discipline, and I think this proves that they're way off base. He got some additional information, reflected on the decision, and made a different decision. And I'm proud of his analysis and his effort. And while I would have fully supported the retaliation, I'm also fully supportive of his analysis, focusing on proportionality. And I have no doubt that when the time is right, Iran will pay the price, and ideally it will be with minimal loss of life and maximal destruction to their war weapons.
Well, and here's the thing. I think a lot of people are with you because, again, just looking at the room today at Pass the Mic when we were doing it, everybody's hand went up. We said we'd be better off without Iran. But not everybody was willing to make Iran go away. So some people wanted to wait. You know, there's timing and that sort of stuff. So I think most Americans are like, if he would have struck Iran, I would have been okay with it and I would have supported him. But I can also appreciate why he didn't, and take a look at this and let the new sanctions do its thing and see what happens and all of that stuff. You know, I don't expect sanctions to ever work with Iran, but I think a lot of people are there. I think that's why we're seeing so many people who typically would not support him are looking at this and going, yeah, I can see him going either way on this, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and I think it shows that President Trump is evolving into quite a statesman. And the haters are not going to acknowledge that, but look at that and some of his other decisions, and he's contemplative. He's balancing input and making very reasonable and admirable decisions.
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with that. And he hasn't strayed from his less than interventionist philosophy that he's always had. He's never been a war hawk. So, him having to launch a military strike is something that it takes some time and effort. He'll support, Saudi Arabia and things like that in their campaign against the terrorists in Yemen. But, actually launching military strikes and things of that nature, that's not something that he's always been supportive of. So when he does it, it seems like it's been planned out pretty well. We saw what happened in Afghanistan. The Afghanistan strategy was brilliant and long overdue. So it'd be interesting to see kind of what happens. And, look, it's Iran. We're going to be dealing with them for a long time. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a breakthrough at some point and things will start moving in the right direction.
All right. Well,
All right, man.
make America great again. I'll talk to you later.
There you go, bud. Appreciate it. Thank you much.
Bye-bye.
By the way, US 20 eastbound between State Road 19 and US 33 exits. The right lane is closed and slowed down there. Appreciate the listeners for calling that in. As a service member, this is a text message. As a service member who would have to bear the weight of the action with Iran, I am glad that he called off the strike, but Iran needs to be brought down under the moral and right reasons. Just like you said, as I was typing this, LOL. As a veteran of Afghanistan, I know our people are ready, if not wary, but we are ready. And that's just it. There's something to be said for taking a break, right? We've been fighting for a long time, and the public, I think, is war weary. I think the military is war weary, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't perform superbly. Obviously, they would. But at the same time, if it's going to happen, make it happen for the right reasons. And from the president's perspective, you're like, look, I can do this strike. I can hit these 3 sites. I can kill roughly 150 people. Some of them will be civilians, not all of them. And then I'm going to have to deal with the international crap. Then I'm going to have to deal with the stuff at home. And I'm going to have to deal with the question of proportionality based on an unmanned drone. Even though Iran violated the law, okay, Iran was the aggressor. It's still a drone. It's just a robot, and we're talking about human life here, and that becomes an escalation and a whole thing, and then this can get out of control, and then we might actually have a war. So you can just take a step back and say, all right, let's actually plan this out if this were to go down. And I'm sure the military already has these plans. I'm just saying. And then if we're going to risk a war with Iran, let's risk it over actual human life as opposed to shooting down a robot from the sky. I think that's a fair point to at least consider. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. The lines that we carry are
29! We're 30 seconds late.
Why do we carry the lines
Didn't turn 30.
I believe in the quality.
That counts, right?
When you're purchasing something that is
All right. What's up, everybody? Now I can finally address you.
Music at 28:30. So I can start doing
Yes, I would. Yes. That would help tremendously. All right. I can kind of focus on chat, see what's going on.
And we're not trying to, you need to do this because I need to make my commission for the month or for the week. We actually are more interested in helping you find what is right. I would rather somebody leave than to buy something they're not happy with or feel that they were pressured into buying something they didn't need or want. Come to Secret Interior on University Drive next to Temper Grill and City Plaza.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank.
Just talking about Smollett.
With no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And
Smollett and Mueller.
Not sell you. Welcome.
Not Mueller, but Mueller.
What's in your wallet?
For consumers only, offered by Capital One and A member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations.
The new Tech Insider thing.
Did you know that the knowledge your child gained in school could slip away during the summertime?
All right, let me log into Discord. Do you need anything, Angie? You okay?
At Mathnasium, we reverse the summer slide with summer workout plans that focus on topics like fractions, multiplication, algebra readiness, and more.
I would like a dartboard in here for guests, but they don't listen to me, so.
And we make it fun. Mathnasium is the authority in math education with over 1,000 learning centers worldwide. Visit mathnasium.com/summer.
The Roxanne video? Is that what you're talking about?
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. At 95.3
Man.
The MT News Center among our top stories this afternoon. A marching rally for Eric Logan.
Ooh, Alex posting the WMD post. Look at that.
Call last Sunday is set to take place tonight at 6:30. South Bear Pete Judge plans attendance before returning again to the campaign trail in South Carolina tomorrow. Summit police are investigating vandalism at the memorial where Logan was shot. This after somebody spray painted the words "Good Shoot" onto the pavement. And new information about a 15-year-old boy in rural.
Damn, that's a big boom in Philly.
Authorities say 21-year-old Tyler
Jeez.
struck his 15-year-old brother in the head because he was upset about the teen vaping indoors, causing a skull
Crazy.
fracture that led to his death. A recording of a hearing in the involuntary manslaughter case against Kiger detailed the circumstances of the dispute earlier this month. The father says Kiger
Get my audio queued up over there.
Now, this is a confidential document, correct? So they wouldn't make this public. We never get this policy.
But she just said, you know, what a lot of us see and know to be true. You guys just got her. She just said the truth.
Maybe another example or two? You have on top of your head, if not, no worries.
Oh man, this one might be too big. Both of them were slow. Want to just take a little detour and see something new?
Well, yes. What is going on? What is happening right now in this country?
So they're applying narrative control, and what they're doing is that they're applying the human component, which is they're going through with an army of people, and they're going to redefine reality. They're going to redefine a reality based on what they think is fair.
Woo, Project Veritas gonna get good.
This is Fox News.
One could be judged by the beer that they drink and how they drink it. For instance, Obama drinks a good beer, Sam Adams, but he drinks it with his pinky in the air. So, remember Beer Summit? I'm just saying. I don't know who drinks their beer like that, but okay. Maybe Dr. Evil?
This is Who's Your Ag. Today's Friday closing farm market report, wrapping up a volatile week with a sell-off in corn and beans. A very flat wheat market, but soybeans led the way down and pulled the corn market as well. On the expectation that USDA's report on Monday will show good planting progress. Obviously, though, there are issues with that crop, but still plentiful soybean stocks. It was a weak close in corn and beans, down near their lows on the day. July corn 442 and a quarter, off 7 3/4, and beets 453 and a half, down 7 1/2. July beans 902 3/4, off 12 3/4. Nobi 927 and a half, 13 and a half lower, and flat wheat with July 526 down a half. Same in livestock. August live cattle 102.22 down $1.72. And the August lean hogs down the $3 limit, $77.90.
Handing over my card makes me feel very anxious and nervous. Just a total invalidation of my identity. I tried not to focus on that because it happens so often. I used to have moments of anxiety and moments of panic. It puts me in a place where I feel like I'm in danger. It just sucks every single time. They look at it and they look at you, and they look at it and they look at you. Oh, is this actually you?
Are you serious?
Are you serious? Joe, are you serious? That is the new MasterCard transgender policy. You can now have the card with your non-legal name that you're chosen by.
And after a string of unexpected box office flops, media investors are hoping for a turnaround this weekend with the release of Pixar's Toy Story 4. Latest sequel is expected to open with between 140.
You know what? Maybe I should put Natty Ice and Natural Ice on the banned words list, so none of you can post that ever again. Uh-oh. Did I do the OK symbol? Damn. I didn't even realize I did the OK symbol. I'm so racist. It slips out. It just, oh, with the pinky? Yeah.
Experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best possible tax settlement, and they have an A+ rating with the BBB. Call Optima for your free consultation. Call 84410.
But does he eat fried chicken with his fingers? First, he interviewed a KKK member. Now this. There you go. Damn it. That guy got me. He recruited me.
Take your lawn to the next level. At Neff Sand and Stone, you can choose from over 100 different materials for your unique landscaping projects. Their wide variety of bulk landscaping stone is perfect for capturing the look you want. Make Neff Sand and Stone your next step toward having distinctive and exceptional landscaping stones. They're located just east of State Road 15, New Paris. Find them on the web at neffs.com.
At Indian Motorcycle, we've always believed there's a right way to do something. It takes craft, dedication, and working till it's your best.
If MasterCard lets you have your own non-legal name on your card, how do the institutions check your ID if your ID has your legal name? I don't know. I am wondering about fraud. So for me, that's the bigger thing is fraud. All right, here we go.
Industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I am also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. So please feel free to interact with all of us. I know the numbers are different, but if you have traffic for the WOWO audience and news team, make sure you just contact your normal numbers and give them the traffic report so they can get them out via text alert and what have you. All right. I want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. Don't forget that every shooter needs good training. Whether you are a new shooter or an experienced shooter, everybody needs more training. So make sure you go to Second Amendment Arms and Range. They have the best training you can get. Again, both on and off site. Doesn't matter what level shooter you are. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. Okay, I'm going to play you some audio. This is a commercial from MasterCard. I've been meaning to talk about this for a couple of days, actually. This is a commercial for MasterCard. I will narrate some of the long pauses for you because they have like text on the video. So if you hear me pop on, that's all I'm doing is reading from the actual commercial itself. So here's the commercial from MasterCard called True Name.
Handing over my card makes me feel very anxious and nervous.
Just a total invalidation of my identity.
For many transgender and non-binary people, the name on their card is a reminder of who they're not.
I tried not to focus on that because it happens so often.
I used to have moments of anxiety and moments of panic.
It puts me in a place where I feel like I'm in danger. It just sucks every single time. They look at it and they look at you, and they look at it and they look at you.
Oh, is this actually you?
Your true identity should never be denied.
Are you serious?
Introducing True Name by MasterCard. The first card that will proudly display your true name.
Stop. That's so cool.
That's incredible. That's who I am. That's who I actually am.
Hashtag acceptance matters. Okay. So what MasterCard is doing is MasterCard has, in support of trans people, they will no longer require a legal name on your card. So obviously you do your card, you have your legal name on your card because again, you're legally bound to that debt. So I'm not, my big concern here is fraud. Okay. That's my main concern, but we've seen that credit card companies are not necessarily concerned with fraud. Otherwise they would have never had RFID chips in your card to begin with. MasterCard will allow individuals to use a name other than their legal name on their credit card, the company announced on Monday. My assumption is on all of their documentation with MasterCard, it's with the legal name. Okay, that's my assumption on how they're actually protecting it and that this is just a display, but I don't know 100%, but that would be my best guess. So the move is aimed at allowing trans people and non-binary people to use a card that displays their true name as opposed to their, quote, dead name. Now, the dead name, when you dead name somebody, you are calling them by the name that they were given at birth, which they now reject. So like if you're a trans person, so you're born Brad and now you are Brenda, Brad would be your dead name and is considered extremely offensive to continue to call them Brad when they want to be called Brenda. The company says the change will ease a major pain point, as 32% of people who have shown IDs with a name or gender at odds with their appearance have reported negative experiences. To promote the change, the company produced a video featuring trans and non-binary customers receiving a MasterCard displaying their new name. Now, somebody had said that they felt like they were in danger with all of this. And I mean, I don't know how accurate that would be, but they feel that way. MasterCard says that they are developing the process that will allow customers to attain a non-legal name on a card. They say that it will be a sensitive and private process free of personal questions. MasterCard did not respond to comment on whether their process would prevent people from arbitrarily changing their name or changing it for fraudulent purposes. That's the concern. So when the press looks at this and the press goes, wait a minute, okay, we got an issue here. Because part of the things you have on your credit card and on all of your identity, so I just got my Indiana Real ID compliant license yesterday. Part of the process is to make sure that you can't commit fraud. So MasterCard was asked about this, and they did not respond. So isn't that interesting? So there are members of the press that looked at this and said, okay, well, what happens if people just arbitrarily start changing their name and maybe this is going to be done for fraudulent purposes, and MasterCard didn't respond to that? So that's a concern, right? The Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking for Washington, D.C.'s government, which implements anti-fraud programs, told the Daily Caller whether this effort leads to increased fraud will likely depend on how it is implemented. That's the concern here. The Mayor Muriel Bowser administration has consistently supported efforts to combat discrimination faced by the LGBTQ community, the department noted, and thus appreciates MasterCard's initiative and its intent behind the True Name Card effort. Sometimes a cashier asks to verify someone's card against their ID. However, MasterCard has a rule in place that individuals cannot be stopped from using a card if they do not show ID. Wait a minute. I did not know this. I have a MasterCard. I did not know that if a retailer asks me for my ID, which by the way has not happened in a very long time. I don't remember the last time I actually had somebody. I think it was Hooters. I think I was at Hooters a couple of months ago. They actually asked to see my ID with my card to make sure it was me. And I remember looking at them going, wow, that was weird. Because I just haven't seen somebody do that in a long time. Kudos, Hooters, by the way, on more than one reason. So you have the MasterCard policy, which is you can't be prevented from using your card if you don't show ID. You don't think anybody follows that? Look, I think if you told a bunch of people who have MasterCards that if you went to Lowe's or something and Lowe's did not let you use the card unless you had you showed them ID, that you could point to the MasterCard policy that says, well, you can't actually prevent me from using my card. Now, I think you're going to run into conflict with Lowe's personal system. But I did not know that. This is a new thing for me. I did not know that MasterCard had a rule in place that individuals cannot be stopped from using a card if they do not show ID. So this is, I guess, if somebody asks you to show your ID if you're using a MasterCard, and you go, nope, sorry, MasterCard says I don't have to. How does that work? What was the commercial with the farm animals, or not farm animals, zoo animals who stole the zookeeper's card back when the RFID chip thing was going? And okay, I used to tell people about this all the time because they'd be like, "Oh, RFID chips are secure." They're not secure. They're garbage. And the RFID chip, in the commercial, they advertise that it is easy for you to have your card stolen and somebody else to use it. They literally advertise it in the commercial. When people would stop and go, "What do you mean?" I'm like, an elephant used the card at a grocery store or a convenience store or whatever it is to get soup for the zookeeper who was sick. So they're saying that an animal can actually steal your card and go use your card. Now we have the new chip, which is also garbage. They have the new chip now that is a little bit more secure, but I did not know that MasterCard had a policy of not showing your ID. The True Name announcement is part of MasterCard's Acceptance Matters initiative. The other facet of the company's initiative is a sign in New York City that displays various sexual and gender identities. So obviously this is part of Pride Month and everything else. But again, the big concern here is fraud. And MasterCard doesn't seem to be answering those questions. So we'll see if this actually gets launched nationwide or not. They say it's coming soon, or if they end up having some security issues and backing off of that. We'll see. All right. Casey Hendrickson here on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, also covering for Pat Miller on Newstalk 1190 WOA 107.5 FM. More coming up in just a minute.
Casey Hendrickson.
News. 30 at 51. What's that? Empress Street 51.
Does your family or group meet regularly for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call the
Writing it down and I went, oh wait, no.
So we got to do it in the commercial break.
Home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals, 5-day forecast.
Patchy fog possible early on this morning. Otherwise, we'll see plenty of
The
sunshine today.
commercial
Before
before it
start to
is
warming up to
golf heating and
77
air.
degrees.
So
For
when the
tonight, you
golf
drop down to
heating
60 for the low, and then we'll have a chance for a few showers and storms moving in late this evening through into early tomorrow morning. Really, so far, most of Saturday looks dry, just maybe an isolated shower or storm possible. Otherwise, we'll still see some sunshine at times, with temperatures warming up to 76 degrees. Now, it's not as sunny for Sunday. We'll have a high of 82, definitely getting very muggy across the area, with scattered showers and thunderstorms moving in mainly in the second half today. And with it, some of them could be...
You in trouble already? What the hell?
We're showing where I work, where all the fake news comes from.
It's a small office for as much as comes out of there, huh?
Michiana's news channel, would you like the consultation? Can I ask what you're talking about? The problem.
you pulled her out. I'm like, what the hell did she do now? Yeah, I'll take off.
I know. Make it your first name, please.
Yeah.
Say it again, please.
Your best defense is staying connected. Text or Twitter
Linda?
MNC and ABC 57 News. Purchase a
Alrighty, I'll try to get you on there.
and make a plan. That way, every member of your family knows where to go in the event of a tornado.
95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
When those giant scissors come out for a grand opening ceremony, it's the staff that's in the photo. Behind the scenes of any office or industrial build are numerous contractors tirelessly taking dreams from drawing board to reality with precision, on schedule, and on budget. From the very first step to the final phase, you need the trusted experience of a team who knows how to get the job done. Final Phase Electric has the tools and the experience to make your dreams a reality, and can step in at any time to assess your project with a level of unmatched precision that throws guesswork out the window. We believe in positive results through positive people, and we're positive that we can help you with your commercial or industrial project.
That felt good.
One call does it all.
You have no idea. That felt good.
That's 574-522-4444. Let us take the guesswork out of your project and help you sleep easy. You've got better things to do. Let us hook you up. Find Final Phase Electric on Facebook or visit finalphaseelectric.net.
If you look back on 1937, historical...
Casey, I work retail. We were told not to check IDs anymore.
Studebaker was pumping out luxury automobiles. Disney
I had
produced
to happen to me once.
Amelia
This is before I
Earhart
had a car.
disappeared in a solo flight.
Well,
and the
I had it
population
happen
of
to a
South
friend of
Bend
mine.
was approaching 6 figures. Since then,
And
South
then
Bend
it was
residents
okay.
have depended on
If you
golf
don't have your ID
heating
and
and
they
air
flipped it
conditioning
over
to
and the
keep
card
their
wasn't
families
signed,
comfortable.
we're not.
As of Brian
Yeah, you used to have to sign the card. Yeah, if you didn't sign it, they wouldn't take it. I
It
remember
still
that.
says on the card it's not valid unless
Right.
signed.
Summer months, which is why, for a limited
It always
time,
rubs off,
they have
though.
priced
Some
out
people
their air
don't send their
conditioning
cards
systems
so
with the
they ask
lowest
for their
prices
ID
of the
like
year. Call
they
for
do
a
it on
free
purpose.
estimate to take
That's the
advantage
reason
of
that I
the
give.
pre-season sale. You won't have to worry about hacking a fan
It's not the
or
reason
keeping your
why. I'm
blinds
just too
closed
lazy to
during
sign
the
the damn
dog
thing.
days.
That's the reason that I give.
BobHeating.com or call 574
You know the PIN number?
289-6511. Get your new AC unit from
I,
heating and air conditioning company that Michiana has stood behind
5,
for over 2
4,
generations. Goff Heating.
3, 2.
Casey Hendrickson here for Impress Jewelry Creations. I knew that there was only one place that I wanted to go when I got my wife our anniversary present. That was Impress Jewelry Creations. So I went. Kelly went ahead and took care of me. And my wife had been in there previously, and Kelly had taken very careful notes and added it to our account. They do this. They have these accounts for customers and clients that they will make notations of things that they seem to take interest in or things that they liked, any recommendations that they had made or any questions that they had asked. That way, they can refer back to them and give a much better customer service experience when you go into Impress Jewelry Creations. And she was able to go ahead and look at that account and listen to some of the stuff that I was saying. She knew exactly what would be the perfect anniversary gift for my wife. And she showed it to me, and sure enough, it was just an absolutely flawless suggestion. My wife loves it. It's fantastic, extremely high quality, and could not be more impressed with Impress Jewelry Creations. Visit them online at impressjewelers.com, or you can visit them in person at 1233 University Drive in Granger, Indiana, right next to Temper Grill and C. Kramer Interiors.
Soak up the summer savings with brand new deals from Malibu Tanning.
It's like I'm a professional. Shizzo Dizzo.
She left it for like 20 seconds. She's back now.
Yeah, Angie got pulled into the principal's office. I'm in the middle of a segment. John comes in and does one of these things. He looks at it. He's like, it's like then she disappears. I'm like, okay. I guess I can't have people hang out with me anymore.
We're your home for the Sean Hannity Show. Weeknights 6 till 9. Exclusively on News Talk 90.3.
All right, here we go.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM. Phone number to join us, 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Okay. We are talking about MasterCard's latest ad campaign, and this is for transgender people, that they don't have to use their given name or what they call their dead name. They can use whatever name that they want. Now, the interesting thing about this is that MasterCard has been asked about fraud prevention on this, and they have not responded to media requests about that. And even the U.S. government regulating body says that it can be secure depending on how it is implemented. So we're not exactly sure how they're going to do that. They're not really telling anybody, but there is some concern about potential fraud with using your not legal name on your card. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out and if MasterCard is just pandering or if they're actually going to roll this out soon. Again, this is coming soon. This is not available now. Back to the phone lines. Linda, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi there.
Wouldn't it make more sense to have those people pay the $25 and change their name legally instead of putting the whole rest of the world in tune to their wishes?
Does it only cost $25 to change your name? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it, huh? Well, geez, why haven't I changed my name like once a month? I could do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the reason behind it. I really don't.
I think everybody should turn their MasterCards in. I'm tired of bowing to a select little group of people every time they get a little bent out of shape.
Well, I mean, now, are you bowing though? Does it affect you at all, or is it just irritating that a company is doing this?
For fraud. And who pays for the fraud?
The fraud aspect of it. Yeah, if it ends up being a fraud, rife with fraud, that could be an issue. Certainly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. All right, Linda, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, so couple of messages here via text. Casey, does your MasterCard say McLovin? No, but I'm reminded of the hero, and not all heroes wear capes. I'm reminded of the hero many years ago. Do you remember when the People's Republic of California allowed you to put any name on your driver's license that you wanted? Do you remember that? And by the way, that has led to nothing but problems. And there was the guy who put McLovin on his driver's license. Remember that dude? I mean, absolute legend. But no, mine doesn't, but it might now. Say, Casey, how does that work when it's in conflict with your ID or driver's license? What if the vendor requires a photo ID for credit? I don't know, folks. I honestly, there's my questions. Now, MasterCard, again, says that they have a policy that you cannot prevent somebody from using their card if they don't show their ID, which, by the way, should be a bit concerning to everybody. Casey, time to use Visa, American Express, Diners Club, and Discover. Does Diners Club still exist? Is this still around? I remember when they were the biggest thing, and I don't know that I've seen a Diners Club card in forever. I am so tired of the left cramming their bull in the face of the mainstream. Casey, I work in retail. We were told not to check IDs anymore. Huh. So I don't know what to say to that. We have identity theft on the rise. Identity theft is still one of the biggest crimes committed every single year. Illegal immigrants are notorious for committing identity theft, and yet we're not taking basic precautions to protect people's credit, which is increasingly important in our society. I don't know, it just seems a little silly. Casey, maybe my business won't accept MasterCard anymore. And they don't have to. Businesses don't have to. Now that many of you know that MasterCard does not allow you to deny the use, or I should say, they have a policy of not denying the use of the card to somebody who doesn't show their ID, there might be a lot of businesses out there that are a little skeptical of that for security reasons. Let's see. Casey, a friend changed her name to Tiger. As long as you're not defrauding creditors, it is easy. Huh. All right. I don't know. I don't know why we have to do a system like this as opposed to somebody just changing their name. I don't know what the logic of that would be. I guess I would have to sit down with a representative of the trans community and ask them that. But I'm not exactly sure. So there you go. MasterCard's got this new policy, just so you know, but MasterCard is not answering questions in the press about how they're going to secure the system and prevent fraud, which is concerning to a lot of people, including previous callers. Well, we pay the fraud, and that's true, you do. You do pay that fraud. All right, Casey Hendrickson here, broadcasting News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM. Open lines coming up at 5 o'clock. Watch the live stream at YouTube and twitch.tv/Casey the host. More coming up next.
The St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Unit.
Okay. So to legally change your name in the state of Indiana, you have to petition the court.
Okay.
And you have to petition the court, and it varies. The price of changing it varies from county to county.
Okay.
In Delaware County, it costs $136.
Okay. So it can be more than $25.
You can petition the court on your own or with an attorney to do so.
So it's much more convenient to just force a company to do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, makes sense.
I
All right.
think they have to run something in the paper too if you're going to change your name.
I don't know, do you?
Yeah, I've seen them like.
So there's like a public record.
You must petition the court of the county in which you reside. Part of this process is posting a notice for petition change in the local newspaper.
Huh. Son of a gun.
Appear by law at least once a week for 3 weeks. The court requires the last publication date to be at least 30 days prior to the hearing.
Wow, interesting. So it's annoying, but it can be done. All right, I'll be right back, folks. It's a process.
You have to contain proof that it ran in the newspaper, your Indiana driver's license.
You have to pay for the newspaper.
Yes, and you have to bring as well as a valid passport for your citizenship. So pricing for all that. And then they can still deny it.
Revolutionary Guards that he could have taken out a mandate aircraft operating the drone at the time, but chose not to. House Leader Nancy Pelosi issued a statement that Congress must.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
In Iran. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says he's deploying 1,000 National Guard troops to his state's border with Mexico to deal with a surge of migrants.
Yeah.
The National Guard troops will provide assistance at temporary holding facilities and at ports of entry.
Mexico's foreign minister saying today his country has now deployed about 6,000.
I'll get out there as soon as I can.
American migrants through his country to
No problem.
the west border. Missouri's health department today declined to permit the state's only abortion clinic over accusations of unsafe medical practices.
Planned Parenthood is now accusing Missouri leaders of playing politics, of weaponizing the suspension process, and of being on the wrong side of history. And that's because the Department
Provided you meet all the requirements and properly execute the
reproductive
application,
health
provide
services
the
at
court
Planned
with
Parenthood to continue providing abortion services.
take
However,
effect
as
at
long
the
as it's
conclusion of the
instruction from Judge Michael
It takes effect immediately.
You're still reading that?
Well, you left in the middle of the explanation.
Well, I needed to be able to get my stuff. I wouldn't have time to go get it now.
So provided you meet all the requirements and probably execute the application, so you have to fill out an application for it. And provide the court with the necessary documents. The name change should take effect at the conclusion of the hearing. So then you have to go and get all your stuff changed. So after you pay, so if you don't have a passport, you have to pay to get a passport made and then go get it changed.
Got it. Nobody needs passports anyway. Passports are useless.
But if you're just getting a name change on the passport, it's way cheaper than getting the original passport. Like $350 or whatever it is.
So it's a process and it's difficult.
So pricey. Either way. So, and that the 136 number is from 2011. I don't know when this
cooperative with investigators. The 16-year-old was taken to the St. Joseph County Juvenile Justice Center and arrested on preliminary suspicion of reckless homicide. 17-year-old Darnell Tobar II died after being shot at a home on Woodhill Lane late Wednesday night. The shooting is believed to have occurred while the boys were recklessly handling a gun. 95.3 NBC's Carl Stutzman reporting. After a campaign event this morning in Florida, South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg back in South Bend tonight to attend a rally for Eric Logan, the man who died after being shot by a South Bend police officer investigating a report of a car break-in near Colfax and William last Sunday morning. The rally is scheduled to start around 6:30. Buttigieg is then set to be back on the campaign trail in South Carolina tomorrow.
I don't think we're supposed to have any rain tonight, are we? I think tonight's supposed to be good. We are?
No.
Oh, it's supposed to be good.
South Main Street. That's north of Chippewa. There were no report of any injuries. And a Wynota Lake man is accused of setting his home on fire, then scaling a local school, falling off the roof, and getting caught with methamphetamine.
29-year-old Jordan Schultz was arrested after the string of overnight events, which happened within a 10-hour time frame. The Times Union reports his wife...
Interesting when they try to use their card in another country. Busted! Oh, that's a good point. You go and take your card to like Ireland or something like that. It's already a pain in the butt to use your credit cards in another country. Oh my God, is that a pain in the butt? You should. But yeah. Then of course you make yourself a target. But cash is, I mean, honestly, traveler's checks are still like a no-go. All these things that we thought when we went to Ireland, and all these people who contacted their banks and everything else and let them know that, hey, I'm going to be in Ireland, and all of their banks were declining their purchases. It was a mess. It sucked.
Overcast, it's the 70 at the 95.3 MNC Studios. I'm John Cindy News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Stay connected with 95.3 MNC on Alexa.
Several years ago, my sister stole a credit card and simply signed the back of the card. No one ever asked her for ID. They maxed the $10,000 limit in one day and got away with it.
Someone stole your sister's credit card or your sister? The way that sounds.
My sister stole a credit card.
Advice. However, if you're looking for a retirement specialist,
didn't get caught.
to earn your trust.
Not a felon. Didn't get caught.
Has a track record of success when it comes to structuring a solid
I mean, they're making it so convenient that
opportunity to sit down with you
I don't know.
and get a genuine
It's stupid.
understanding of your future financial goals and provide clear, concise advice to deliver the financial security and independence.
All right. I want to talk about NAM.
Accolades, awards, and credentials.
Ow.
What makes us proud is our
Oh,
commitment to our
Smollett.
clients
That's right.
and what they have to say about their experience with our team. Call Howard Bailey now for a complimentary consultation at 866-482-9559, 866-482-9559. It's never
Yeah, we're supposed to have rain tomorrow.
to start planning for your retirement.
I don't know how much, but we are supposed to have rain tomorrow. I brought the bike today. I better not get rained on. Damn it.
Ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating is the newest in paint.
Yeah, I don't know. What is LifeLock's policy for MasterCard now?
Literally, the Z-Gloss process begins with polishing the paint.
Just saying.
Any imperfections. We apply 3 layers: a water-shedding primer foundation, a sealer to create an adhesive bonding, and a ceramic top coat that locks in and enhances the.
This new Jussie Smollett person looks like a hooker that I just saw in an article about brothels. Looks just like her. This guy went to every brothel in Nevada over 5 years and lived with the girls for like 3 to 5 days at each one, so he could document their life and everything. And there's a lady in it that looks just like that. Like just like that. So maybe that's how she financed her law career. I don't know.
Visit Z Part of South Bend or call 574-232-2073.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Let's talk credit.
I'm not too worried about it.
If you
I got my rain gear with me.
too much of it, you're not alone. The average household in the U.S. carries over $8,000 in credit card.
I tried to do another moto vlog today, and I'll see tonight if the audio worked. I had to connect my GoPro because it's still not working. I had to connect my GoPro to my phone, the mobile app, and then I was able to change audio settings in the mobile app, but it's still not the same settings that I used to have access to. So I changed it from auto to stereo. So I'm hoping that that has helped. Otherwise, GoPro is going to get a complaint from me, and they are going to send me another mic adapter. So I'm a little sick and damn tired of their customer service. I wish I could find my old mic adapter. I don't know where the hell it went. Packed it in the move and gone. It's weird how it's always my stuff that gets lost. Strange how that happens.
Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. I just learned a few minutes ago that this is the first official day of summer. Could not ask for a better day, by the way. Just absolutely gorgeous outside, at least where we're at. I don't know about Fort Wayne. Although, I would assume it'd be about the same, right? I mean, they're not too far away. So, I don't know. We'll look at the radar. No, we won't. We're just lying. Anyway, covering from Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM as well. So we're broadcasting in both markets. Want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. Still got a lot of text messages coming in about the MasterCard thing. Somebody had pointed out that their relative had stolen a credit card and they signed the back of the card. Nobody ever asked for ID, and they maxed out the $10,000 limit on the card. And I mean, look, it seems to me that we keep having a problem with rising fraud and identity theft, and yet we are making it easier to steal people's identities. So maybe we should, I don't know, look at a different direction. That's just my thoughts, or at least abandon the credit system as we have it right now, which I've been advocating for at least a decade. I want to thank our sponsors, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you mention me, you get half off your range time. You also get 10% off in the stores. So if you want to get ammo, you want to get accessories, targets, that sort of stuff, you get 10% off just by mentioning me. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. And I also want to remind you that we are 1 hour away from open line. So in 1 hour, starting at 5 o'clock, you can call about any issue you want. You want to talk about the South Bend shooting? You can. We want to talk about Joe Biden and his silly segregationist comments? We can. Whatever you would like to talk about, it's your choice starting at 5:05. All right. So we have some breaking news in the Jussie Smollett case. Jussie Smollett is, of course, the actor from Empire who lied about being attacked by racist Trump supporters. He actually set the entire thing up. A Cook County, Illinois judge has ruled that a special prosecutor should be appointed to investigate the alleged hate crime hoax case involving actor Jussie Smollett, which would allow charges to be reinstated against Smollett. CBS News reported that the judge made the ruling because Cook County State's attorney Kim Foxx had no authority to hand the case off to her deputy after announcing that she recused herself. Now we find out she actually didn't recuse herself. It was a lie. TMZ noted that the judge used a nautical metaphor to describe the screw-ups made by Fox's office, saying, quote, "There was no master on the bridge to guide the ship as it floundered through the uncharted waters, and it ultimately lost its bearings." Well, that's wordy. How about she dumb? And anyway, Smollett's case in many ways was truly unique, says Judge Michael Tuman, according to a reporter, Megan Crepeau. The case that purported to have been brought up and supervised by a prosecutor authorized to serve in the stead of a duly elected state's attorney, but in fact, it was appointed to a fictitious office. Now, there's another aspect of this Jussie Smollett stuff that has to be kind of factored in here, because the Jussie Smollett stuff also kind of creeps into the Southern Poverty Law Center. because the person who advised on Kim Foxx and dropping the charges and all that other stuff is now with the Southern Poverty Law Center, who replaced people who had to leave the Southern Poverty Law Center after Gavin McInnes sued the Southern Poverty Law Center for slander and libel because they lied about him and the Proud Boys. And so then they had to start getting people out of there. Well, then she comes in. We end up, now she's tied in with this whole fiasco. So this is a whole mess for the Southern Poverty Law Center as well, which I could not be more happy about. So the reporter added that the special prosecutor may further prosecute Smollett, and if they have reasonable grounds to believe that any other criminal offenses was committed, special prosecutor may commence the prosecution of any crimes as may be suspected. So basically, the judge has said everything that Kim Foxx did was wrong and pretty much illegal. So now what we have is a special prosecutor can come in, can recharge Jussie Smollett, and can add any additional charges that they see fit based on new evidence. Anthony Guglielmi, Chief Communications Officer for the Chicago Police Department, tweeted, quote, "We stand firmly behind the work of detectives in investigating the fabricated incident reported by Jussie Smollett, and Chicago police will fully cooperate with the court-appointed special prosecutor." Now, I would also like to point out that the evidence dump that the Chicago PD released upon the public about Jussie Smollett was very damaging. It was crystal clear. I mean, it was anyway, but there is no doubt that he fabricated this whole thing. No doubt whatsoever. The words of the brothers that he hired to do this just completely sealed the deal. There's no way that anybody who is intellectually honest at all could think that he was actually the victim of something. I realize that there are people out there who just want it to be true. They want Trump supporters to be racist homophobes who attack people, but it just didn't happen. And the police released all of that information, much to the chagrin of Jussie Smollett. Let's not forget that he was going to court fighting to have that information sealed and prevented from being released to the public. Now, if you are really the victim of an attack, why would you oppose the police releasing all of the evidence in your case, which could lead to the capture or identifying of the actual assailants? Why would you oppose that in court? Why would you want to keep all of the evidence of who attacked you and how you were attacked secret and hidden from the public, unless, of course, you fabricated it and you didn't want the public to know to what extent you fabricated said attack? So again, most people want the evidence to come out so that the bad guy can be captured. But when Jussie Smollett made the moves to make sure that this stuff got sealed so that way it couldn't be released to the public, of course, the judge denied that, hence the release of the information. And really, it was the cherry on top of the sundae, honestly. We knew exactly what he was trying to do, which was hide the fact that he made this entire thing up. Keep in mind, he is also still facing federal investigations for civil rights violations and other things like mail crime because of the white powder that he allegedly sent to himself on set using the post office, which of course is a federal crime. Can't do that. Can't send white powder to anybody, whether it's really a chemical or not. You can't do it without it being clearly labeled. If it's meant to be a threat, whether it's flour or sugar or an actual harmful chemical, you just can't do it. So he had that sent to himself, according to the evidence that we have right now, but they are currently investigating whether or not he is the guilty party there. And if so, he's facing the possibility of those federal crimes there for mail crime, and then of course you have the civil rights violations, because you can commit apparently you can commit a civil rights violation against yourself. I didn't know that, but apparently you can. So they're investigating him for that. So again, he still has a federal case to deal with, and now the special prosecutor could decide to recharge him with all of the crimes that he was charged with before, and the special prosecutor has the discretion to add new charges. So this case is not over yet. We'll continue to report on that as more information comes out. We have more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, also covering for Pat Miller on Newstalk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.
Casey Hendrickson.
Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news.
Oh, all right. 25 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people.
Just roasted whoever Falcon is on the
I'm trying. I just saw something about Falcon, so I'm on there looking. America like the bully boy in the school, his power only on poor students, But when the bullies stand in front of a strong student with his strong friends, 4 dots instead of 3, then the bully has limit.
That's one nice. We have a Z-bar read coming up. In about...
Are we allowed to make fun of foreigners, or is that just really uneducated? What, Falcon? Review your disjointed post before you hit send. No one understands what you just posted.
20 seconds until we...
Zebert?
Mm-hmm.
When you download the MNC app for iPhone and Android. On Alexa, you can tell her to download the 95.3 MNC skill. And now, on the Google Home Smart...
Get some help, Falcon.
10.
Anytime, anywhere, from Newstalk 95.3 Michiana's News Channel.
Casey Hendrickson here for Z-Bart of South Bend. I just got the word from John over at Z-Bart that our vehicle is done. So I will be able to actually see the ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating that was done to my car. Actually, he sent me a picture the other day. So he had a Lamborghini that was getting the ceramic Z-Gloss. He had a Mercedes AMG getting the ceramic Z-Gloss, had a Bentley getting the ceramic Z-Gloss, and he had my Caravan. Yes! I'm super stoked about this, by the way, because we have had some issues. Obviously, the kids throw things, the car, that sort of, they're always setting something down on the car. And the ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating protects against minor scratches, dents, things like that. But it also protects against acid rain, the UV rays, things like that can lower the quality of your paint, devalue your vehicle over time. And the best part is, I don't have to worry about waxing or polishing the car for the next 7 years. I'm super stoked about this. Go to Z-Bart of South Bend. Mention me. They're at 2627 South Main Street, Z-Bart of South Bend.
So the word different is used a lot in advertising. See the difference, hear the difference.
It's my favorite commercial.
Spend some time with Bill Martin, the CEO.
See the difference. You hear a difference a lot in the advertising. See the difference.
And different really does sum up what they do.
Because ABC 57's thing is, see the difference.
Engagement rings with fully custom design.
It's
Abilities there are limited.
I think it's
talking to Bill, and the team that he's put together, the years of experience that he has.
Well, I let Iran teach you.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Together in various places for
Is he Iranian?
years, and it really
Like,
shows.
we'll totally kick your ass, right? Like, it's not even going to be a conflict.
Which correlates with quality.
Is it Warren? Is it W. Murphy that is? No South America isn't like a school bully. When we hit you, you go down.
It's the interesting, okay, it's not even interesting. It's ironic. Iran's actually the bully. And the United States is actually the one taking care of it. So that's what's so funny about it. Is there one on Twitch, or is it just the one on YouTube, Alex?
Yourself why we are where you ought to be. 600 vehicles to choose from, 200 of those at $15,000 or less, and $2,500 minimum for your trade.
Yeah, that Roxanne video is on my list for today.
Sun Services is your local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Here's owner Jamie.
Iran used to be such a beautiful, successful country too. That's what's so sad about it. And there's still a large segment of the population that remembers when Iran was a great place to live and a great place to visit, and now it's a cesspool of crap.
Give Sun Services a call today, 574-271-5010. Your trusted local.
All right, I'll go look on Twitch then. I didn't see it.
Another lesson I have learned from Iran: goats are not just for food.
Oh my god. The poor goats, man. Goats are just trying to do their thing.
Well,
it's like, spread the love with some other animals, man. Leave the goats alone. Okay, I don't see... I don't have any chat messages on chat, so... Like, I had to be logged in, I think, on Twitch to see the chat. What was the name of the chatter on Twitch?
iOS 13 to custom build a marketing solution to fit your needs.
The U.S. House of Representatives just passed a bill to protect dreamers from...
Okay, Comet, that was the best thing that John McCain ever did, was the bomb Iran. That was probably the best thing that he ever did.
Congressman Fred Upton did the right thing and voted to protect the dreamers. Call Congressman Upton.
Yeah, I don't have any...
385-0039.
I don't have any of the old messages in chat.
Paid for by forward.us.
All right, we'll do, Tracy. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I also am covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM, and you're about 40 minutes away from open lines. Call about anything that you want. Feel free to bring up any of the issues that we've been dealing with. I know frequently when we come on, a lot of people in Fort Wayne would like to talk about Pete Buttigieg and things like that that get national attention now that he's running for president, and you're always welcome to do that. Okay, so Condoleezza Rice had a sit down with an NBC reporter, and she kind of shut this reporter down. And it's interesting to see. First of all, I love Condoleezza Rice. I was hoping that she would run for president. I know that a lot of people have some tepid resentment, if you will, against her for some things, but I like her a lot. And I think she would be a really good executive in the White House, to be perfectly honest with you. Very bright woman, obviously very passionate about her politics, but she just articulates things in a way that is difficult for people to argue against, which is always impressive and good. And again, considering how she is able to go ahead and articulate those points, they're very effective. So she was sitting down with Chanel Jones. Can you cue up my audio, please? And I want you to go ahead and listen to this exchange. It's about a minute long, but Condoleezza Rice kind of shut her down for a comment that she made. I just want you to listen to this. This is, again, MSNBC.
People who will say it feels worse now when we're talking about race, or it just feels like a divisive environment.
It sure doesn't feel worse than when I grew up in Jim Crow, Alabama. Okay, so let's drop this notion that we're worse race relations today than we were in the past. Really? That means we've made no progress? Really? And so I think the hyperbole about how much worse it is isn't doing us any good. We still have, this country is never going to be colorblind. We had the initial original sin of slavery. It's still with us.
So for people who say, you know what, it's top down, it starts with the president, it starts with the words that he speaks.
But come on, all right? I would be the first to say we need to watch our language about race. We need to watch that we don't use dog whistles to people who... But when we start saying, oh, you know, it's worse today, no, they're not.
Yeah, and she's right. She's 100% right. Now, I would like to remind everybody that there was a memory that she had when she was a kid of her dad, armed, by the way, for you anti-gunners out there, faced off the Klan and kept the Klan from coming into that house where she was as a little girl and hurting them. And her dad did that, okay? So when you approach somebody like that, who has that experience, and obviously Chanel Jones has no idea what that is like. She's much younger than Condoleezza Rice is. And you're trying to tell her, oh, things are worse now than they were before. And Condoleezza Rice, what are you talking about? Shut up. This is so stupid. And she should have told the story. I don't know if she did in the full interview, but in that little soundbite, she didn't tell the story. But she should have told the story. And she probably doesn't want to keep harkening back to it, about how her dad stared down the Klan. And he was only able to do that because he was armed. And of course, the Klan, Democrats, were there. They were trying to harass his family, and he went right out to the porch armed, and they left. He was able to force them to leave. Nobody was hurt. And luckily, they didn't have to really deal with something like that again, from what I understand. So, you know, Dad made his message, made his point very, very clear, and they left them alone. But, you know, Condoleezza Rice she's just awesome. I mean, she is. And when she has the ability to articulate those things, again, there's a lot of people out there who just, first of all, they're being taught incorrect history. We know that. We know that there's not a lot of correct history that is being conveyed on the student in America. I've told you before about going into the U.S. government class. The teacher was threatened with being fired for teaching the Articles of Confederation, for crying out loud, and said, no, just stick to the Constitution. And he's like, well, the Articles of Confederation are kind of important on why we have the Constitution. You have to understand the constitutional government that we have now is not the first government that this country had. And you have to evaluate what we had before and why it didn't work and why the Constitution was written the way that it was. Then you introduce people to the Federalist Papers, which are an explanation of the Bill of Rights. Because right now, nobody has any idea. Well, I'm not saying nobody, but there's a good chunk of the population doesn't have any idea why we have the Bill of Rights, what they mean, for crying out loud. And they haven't bothered to look at the Federalist Papers to get that explanation. And so he was threatened with being fired for teaching it. And he said, you have to see this brand new book that we got. So we opened it up and we were reading it. And I've told the story before, but it said that the First Amendment does not have the guaranteed right of religion and that the Second Amendment does not guarantee the right of citizens to own firearms, which is completely untrue. But it says it in a school government book. Okay. So now these kids who are learning this, and he has to teach to the test, and the test is based on the book. So he's got to teach his students stuff that is not true simply so they can pass the test and move on to the next grade and then on to college, where, of course, in college, they're given these things like the alternative history and all of that, where they leave large swaths of actual history in the United States completely out, or they rewrite stuff altogether. So kudos to Condoleezza Rice for actually shutting this down and pointing out that this doesn't come from the president anyway. It's ridiculous to even suggest that. And she did it, again, in an eloquent way. All right. Live streaming, youtube.com/Casey the host. Join us. You can subscribe, thumbs up, share it with everybody. You can also join us on Twitch if you prefer at twitch.tv/Casey the host. Casey Hendrickson here on 95.3 MNC and also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.
Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast for a fair price, call me at 574-294-5678. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location. I am not a realtor or associated with any realty company. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy even more. Call me at 574-294-5678.
Well, I can't see anything that would have been inappropriate on Twitch, so I don't know why Twitch doesn't store the chat for me to go back in, but they don't.
Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and
Word Crime is a great song. Really good song.
294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
A sub badge and emotes. I don't know what any of that means, Tracy. No clue.
So right now, your sub badge is like a star.
So I need like a custom dealio.
Yeah. So,
okay. All right.
Brown
so,
Man was like the one I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay,
also
so
known as Ray. His are crowns, and he has different colors of crowns for you.
Okay,
so
so
you could do like
Twitch
your
sub badge
symbol. That's just the crossbones.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Okay. All right. So I am going to
and then make the Hendrickson thing emote itself would actually be really good.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. So I'm saving this for later, so it gives me something to do over the weekend if I have time. And then I need custom emotes. Is that what you're saying?
So your Discord emotes, you could use those. Just put those into because you can, but you only can do so much because of how many subscribers you have.
Okay.
So you could do the ones that you like the most.
All right.
Flat Earth one, I think.
We have to have a flat Earth one. All right. Okay, so I'll add all of that in my to-do list for the weekend. And here we go. See, I thought I was doing so good. I got the panels and the donate button and everything else. You're harassing me about the donate button. I got it on there. And I thought I was doing so good. And she's like, no, you need to do all of this now. Damn.
You got to keep up with the modern era, Casey.
So a microphone and then work my way up to the skull and crossbone badge. That might be interesting. All right, I can do that. I can work on that.
And then you can make it like different. So like you need a 1 month, a 3, 6 year. I think that's what you should start. Right, 1 and 3.
Recording of a hearing in the involuntary manslaughter case against Kiger detailed the circumstances of the dispute earlier this month. The father says Kiger didn't intend to harm his brother. It was the victim who called 911 and told the
See, that's why I've got Tracy as an admin. So Tracy took care of the other thing. Got it. All right, so I will work on it, and I will try and make sure that I get some of that stuff done over the weekend. Okay.
Yeah. So right now it's the star. Is the purple stars your current?
The purple star is the one that. Okay, those are my subs. Okay. All right. So we need to get something cooler than the purple star. Okay. And when I change it, it should convert all the purple star ones, right? Automatically?
Then they do it.
Okay.
So like it won't do it in like the current chat.
Okay.
If you were to do it right now, and then for example, I did it, it would have a different.
I gotcha. All right. I can do that.
On Wall Street, the Dow losing 34 points, the Nasdaq shedding 20, the S&P 500 giving back 4. This is Fox News.
Man, I am like ready for the weekend. I feel like I have like 1 foot out the door right now. Dude, I am so in the mood for my vacation. You have no idea. No idea. There we go. Speed cheered. Appreciate that, Speed. Thank you much. Okay. Fine. I just actually saw it. I never get to see any of the animated things that happen because I'm always doing the show. That's what's so different, like, because I'm working on this system basically, and you guys are all over here. So I never get to see any of the crap that happens until I go to a commercial break.
The sub badge has to be approved by Twitch first.
What?
Yeah.
Man. So did you notice my normal banner is back?
Yeah.
It's back. I didn't get any signatures on it, so we didn't do the signature thing. But this thing went through the rounds, man. I got all sorts of pictures. He could have shot it up. That would have been funny. So I'm going to post some of those pictures on Discord over the weekend. And then you'll get to see it. Some of them were posted on Facebook, but I'll post it because it did the rounds when they were on training deployment. It's also helping with the light. Dramatically helping with the light. Yay. All right.
The Fox Business Report, powered by Home Comfort Experts, plumbing, heating, and cooling. Keep your heart-working AC running smooth with a tune-up today. Call 255-4600.
With a tune-up. Make it sound sexual. It's not sexual. Let's have some milk and some cookies. I'm not allowed to do impressions anymore. Oops. Well, how am I supposed to do my milk and cookies bit if I can't do impressions? I need more clarification. Can I do impressions of dead people?
That's kind of like the point of impressions.
Well, I mean, he was like all upset about doing impressions of other people, but if they're dead, they can't get mad, right? So I should be able to do Michael Jackson impressions then. I'm just trying to find an angle here. We were told we were not allowed to do impressions anymore.
By who?
By John.
Oh, well, then you probably shouldn't be doing impressions.
Weren't you in here?
No.
No, he wasn't here yet.
You weren't here. Who was in here?
David.
He was talking to Dave. Oh, yes. He said we are not allowed to do impressions anymore. Sorry, I was just going on the premise that you were the one that was standing over there. Sorry.
The other ginger.
Yeah. Well, you both look alike. So.
He's just taller. And
all of you redheads look alike. Yes, it is racist. Damn right it is. I'm not the one that has gingivitis, okay? You can leave me alone about that. You're the one that has the problem.
Did you turn on your old air conditioner?
Two-part modes are pretty fun. Have to have more subs for that. That'd be kind of nice to have at least my logo split in two or something. That'd be pretty neat.
Summer is when it seems like everyone's AC unit starts making funny noises, stops turning on, or creates hot and cold.
All right, Burgess Owens. I can't hear anything. Do you have my audio queued up or not?
I take it out of queue when you play audio.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right, cool. We're going to play that. Roland was adamant that I play it. Tracy, the rainbow heart is offensive to us homophobes. Really? Jeez. Y'all are going to get me in trouble. I'm just sitting here trying to do my thing. That's all.
What's the difference between a bet from Elkhart Betting and a national brand? Two things.
Oh, it's a rerun. You can tell it's a rerun because Judy's hair is short.
Yeah, she doesn't look like an old man. Like an old version of Ichabod Crane.
So the Elkhart Betting everyday price is less than sale prices at
How many shows... Oh, I dig the Illuminati one, Speed. How many shows do you think she films in one day? What's the average caseload for a judge where you are?
Like how many
Per day. How many cases per day?
Well, Fridays and Mondays are our heaviest days, and that can be anywhere from 50 to 60.
So she could theoretically film one season in one day. Theoretically.
She could film 2 seasons.
She takes a little bit more time, I think, than Angie's court takes, but... Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I'm also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOA 107.5 FM. If you're wondering where he is at, again, just has the day off, and I'm able to fill in that role. So we're just simulcasting in both markets. In half an hour, like literally half an hour from now, we are going to open up the phone lines like we do every single Friday in the final hour of the show for open lines. You can call about anything that you want. Doesn't matter what the topic is. You can go ahead and do that. The earlier you call, the better, okay? Because, well, depending on the week, sometimes it gets really packed and then people can't get through. You can also text in your questions or comments, and we'll try and read those depending on the load of calls that we have. We'll be able to go ahead and get to as many as we can. There's already been a couple of really good questions that have been submitted that hopefully won't get buried, and I'll be able to go ahead and go over those during open lines. So you're half an hour away from that. Make sure you mark it down and give us a call. I also want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you mention me, you get half off your range time. Go to secondamendmentarms.net. All right, so there has been the reparations hearings that have been happening in the House of Representatives. This has been conducted by Democrats. Talked a little bit about it. And again, this is purely a campaign season thing. All right, just so everybody is crystal clear. There aren't going to be any reparations. Nobody is serious about giving you reparations. If you are a supporter of reparations, nobody is serious about that. It is purely a pandering thing to go ahead and shore up the black vote. That's what it is. And it comes up every election cycle, especially presidential election cycles. It's always a thing that gets brought up as a topic. There's always a candidate or two that promise it. And there's always some kind of a committee hearing on it in Congress. So it's just a pure pandering effort that never has the chance in, well, I'll get up. So I'm trying to clean up my language a little bit. It never has a chance of getting out of committee and actually being a thing, okay? It is pure pandering. Nonetheless, they do it. And you get pretty good audio sound bites out of it. Former NFL player Burgess Owens suggested that the Democratic Party should pay reparations to Black Americans in his testimony on Wednesday. I'm going to play his 5.5-minute testimony. I want you to listen to what Burgess Owens had to say. Again, the chairman of the committee is Representative Steve Cohen, Democrat of Tennessee, who never says the word chill. But the other day, he told everybody to chill when they were booing a Black Democrat who opposed reparations. But this is Burgess Owens. Just have a listen to what he had to say at this hearing this week.
Once you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm going to take a different tack from the beginning. We are at this point, this is not about black and white, rich and poor, blue collar, white collar. We're fighting for the heart and soul of our nation. We have a very, very special country that started with the Judeo-Christian values that allowed every single generation to become better than the last. And that has not ended, that has not stopped until now. We're telling our kids a little bit something different, that they don't have the opportunities that we had. I'm going to talk about some ideologies. And when I talk about them, when I talk about people, people change. I used to be a Democrat until I did my history and found out the misery that party brought to my race. So when I talk about these ideologies don't change, people do. We are fighting for the heart and soul of our nation against socialism, Marxism, and the evil that it has brought to us and the stealing of our history. Karl Marx said it best, the father of socialism, an atheist, anti-Semite, and a blatant racist. Yet we teach his philosophy in our school systems today. He said it, the first battleground is rewriting of our history. You steal our history, you steal our pride in our past, our appreciation for our present, and our vision for our future. And every single urban city in our country is now experiencing that loss. Real quick history, because these are things that we're not taught. I'm blessed to be the great-great-grandfather of Silas Burgess. Came here in the belly of a slave ship, sold in Charleston, South Carolina with his mother to the Burgess plantation. An evil, evil man that drove my great-great-great-grandmother either to leaving her family, her kids, or committing suicide. I don't know, she disappeared. But Silas at age of eight, was blessed to be surrounded by men who believed in freedom. Even though they were shackled, they escaped. They went the southern route of the Underground Railroad, facilitated by white and Mexican Americans. And he's made his way out south to Texas. He ended up being a successful entrepreneur, owned 102 acres of land, paid off in 2 years. Started the first black church, the first black elementary school. Pillar of his community, 18 kids, Christian, Republican. His first son was Alpha Omega. Proud American. An example of what happens when any race, any culture is given hope, opportunity, and freedom. It didn't end there, by the way. The history of our black country, of our black Americans, has been stolen from us for decades, almost over a century. Booker T. Washington, 1882, began Tuskegee University. By 1905, it was producing more self-made black millionaires than Harvard, Yale, and Princeton combined. The 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was a black community that led our country in the growth of the middle class, led our country in terms of men committed to marriage, over 70%, now it's 30%. Led our country in terms of the committed to business ownership, 40%, now it's 3.8%. Men matriculated from college. We now have a higher percentage of men incarcerated in college. It is, by the way, my degree was biology. And I learned a long time ago that slavery is not a gene in the DNA helix. It's our actions, it's our attitude, it's our belief. I do not believe in reparation, because what reparation does, it points to a certain race, a certain color, and it points them as evil, and points the other race, my race, as one that is not only becomes racist, but also beggars. I do believe in restitution. Let's point to the party that was part of slavery, KKK, Jim Crow, that has killed over 40% of our black babies, 20 million of them. State of California, 75% of our black boys cannot pass standard reading and writing tests, a democratic state. So yes, let's pay restoration. Let's pay restitution. How about a Democratic Party pay for all the misery brought to my race? And those, after we learn our history, decide to stay there, they should pay also. They're complicit. And every white American, Republican or Democrat, that feels guilty because of your white skin, you should need to pony up also. That way we can get past this reparation and recognize that this country has given us greatness. Look at this panel. It doesn't matter how we think. The fact is, well, it doesn't matter our color. We have become successful in this country like no other because of this great opportunity to live the American dream. Let's not steal that from our kids by telling them they can't do it. Thank you.
Burgess Owens, again, he said, look, I believe in restitution. Let's just have the Democratic Party do it. They're the party of KKK, Jim Crow. They're the ones that are aborting 40% of our babies. And then he did say that, hey, for you white people who feel guilty about being white, you can pay too. That's okay. I mean, it's just that you don't have to if you don't want to. So Burgess Owens, pretty powerful speech on the reparations committee here this week. That was Wednesday, I believe, is when he actually spoke. All right, folks, we got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM.
95.3 FM, online at 95.3mnc.com.
I don't know if he's related to Candace Owens. Let me see if I can find out. I don't think so.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table Restaurant in Niles. Does your family or group meet regularly for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call the Prime Table to reserve tables for your next
Now, home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals' 5-day forecast.
The weekend starts dry. Saturday, partly cloudy, highs upper 70s, but humidity rising, getting muggy. Showers and thunderstorms are
I don't think they're related.
Sunday, scattered storms, 82. Same for Monday with a high of 80. Then drying out and warming up. Middle of next week, 82, partly cloudy on Tuesday. 55 with sunshine next Wednesday.
Dang it. That's not what I wanted to do.
57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center.
The Daily Caller just changed their whole friggin' website this week. It is, but the pop-ups are like, they're maddening. It's a cleaner looking website. It's just, they've got to get the pop-up thing situated. It's all messed up. They have a pop-up ad for a pop-up ad blocker.
Don't want to see this? Use this.
I guess it's effective, but it's pretty ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point.
Amelia Earhart disappeared in a solo flight, and the population of South Bend was approaching 6 figures.
I am not getting paid for doing this commercial, by the way. Because I think occasionally we're supposed to lend our voice to the station or some crap. I don't know.
During the sweltering summer months, which is why, for a limited time, they have priced out.
It's like all of a sudden I'm voicing commercials for businesses that I don't have any affiliation with. Usually, salespeople, things like that, will do that.
During the dog days, just visit goffheating.com or call 574-289-6511. Get your new AC unit from the heating and air conditioning company that
Listen, my friend, I'm not good in English, but I love sex.
Goff Heating and Air Conditioning.
Okay, that's on there.
Those giant scissors come out for a grand opening ceremony. It's the staff that's in the photo. Behind the scenes of any office or industrial build are numerous contractors tirelessly taking dreams from drawing board to reality with precision, on schedule, and on budget. From the very first step to the final phase, you need the trusted experience of a team who knows how to get the job done.
Falcon probably shouldn't be on the internet then,
I already put him in town.
because he's Iranian, right? And that seems like a roof tossing.
One call does it all. 574-522-4444. That's 574-522-4444. Let us take the guesswork out of your project.
Well, maybe we'll get some endorsements for BlueChew.com, and then we can send Falcon some Blue Chew, which is a chewable Viagra. And has sildenafil in it. But it's blue!
Does this sound familiar? You have a toothache, haven't been...
Ugh, Bob's and Vagina. Jesus, Oberos.
Maybe you're embarrassed about the lack of past dental care.
You don't have dental insurance and need
Oh,
help.
you can
but
hide
just
user
don't
on this
know where to
Oh,
turn.
he says he's not Iranian.
Can get you out of
He
pain
just
today.
loves Iran,
You shouldn't have to
apparently.
live in dental pain. That's why Afdent has an entire team dedicated to treating toothaches and dental emergencies. Stop in today with or without an appointment to receive the care you need. Whether you have dental insurance,
Just
or
don't
not,
travel there, man. They're going to toss you off a roof,
we
dude.
can discuss payment plans that fit your budget.
Should I add him as a moderator?
Listen and provide the right dental solution to meet
Let's see
your
what
needs.
happens when we add the crazy person as a moderator.
Call 1-800
Did you put him in timeout or no? I thought you did.
I did.
Well, then how is he able to post?
I don't know, but here's what I
He
did.
just put it, he just said he was, he said I am Muslim, but then it went away, so.
Oh, now he's in timeout. Now he's in
Well,
timeout.
no, it's you can put user in timeout. And I don't know how that works, but I just put hide on.
It's
channel.
bullshit.
So I just put a hide on channel on that basically.
Yeah, see, I can block him on Restream. I wonder if that blocks him on YouTube. Because,
well, he's been blocked.
Okay, well, I'm just going to try and block him from this. Because, the
Yes, they are electronic.
Yeah.
They deleted them.
YouTube does not like let you just block somebody, which is crap. You should be able to ban somebody from your friggin' YouTube channel, especially since they penalize you for the stuff that they write. So if they're going to penalize a channel owner for stuff that people comment on their channel, you should be able to permanently ban that person.
This is Dave Ramsey here to talk about Rain Drain. Rain Drain is your local dealer for the amazing Leaf Guard no-clog gutter system. Leaf Guard is the only seamless one-piece leaf protection system on the market today. It's a patented system that's built to stay clog-free, guaranteed. Or Rain Drain will clean your gutters for
He's back
free.
again.
To learn more from Rain Drain at 888-611-RAIN or visit them at Rain Drain.
Is that a different,
I probably is.
he's got different accounts. It's so weird because he doesn't show up on Restream, so he's been banned on Restream.
Yeah.
Then he should support the prince if he's from Saudi Arabia. I can get behind the prince. He kills terrorists. I'm good with that. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. We are about 5 minutes away from open lines. You can call about anything that you want. So start thinking about it. Start getting your phone on speed dial. 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. And you can also send me a text message at 45364. Again, please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. So I ran into this. Joe Biden's obviously getting a lot of flack for his silly segregation comments the other day. And just what's interesting, I was telling people at the Pass the Mic event today. So his ad person quit. Now, if you don't know how campaign ads work, they get a percentage of the ad buy. So let's say you do a $50 million ad buy. The person who makes the ad gets a percentage of that. It's like 2 or 3% or something like that. So they get like 2 or 3% of this huge ad buy. They make a lot of money. Honestly, that's probably the career I should have gone into because I make really good political ads. So we've done some mock ones in the past and they've been really good. Remember the time I created political propaganda ads against Mark McGill? Remember those? Those were great. That was a good time. They were pretty good. Anyway, so now you got Joe Biden out there. He told a group of rich donors, quote, nothing would fundamentally change for them if he became president. Interesting. What if they have cancer, though? Didn't he promise to cure cancer? Are the rich people going to get that cure, too? Former Vice President Joe Biden reassured a group of wealthy donors on Tuesday that there would be no significant changes to their lifestyle under a hypothetical Biden administration. Now, how is that possible if he's running on repealing the tax cuts? Just throwing it out there. Biden made the comments in New York City during a fundraiser where the Democratic frontrunner said that he does not want to demonize the wealthy. Remember, I got in trouble with some of the people on my team on the Democratic side, he said, according to The Hill. because I said, you know what I've found is rich people are just as patriotic as poor people. It's weird how that works. It's like almost like your socioeconomic status doesn't denote how patriotic you are. Not a joke. I mean, we may not want to demonize anybody who has made money. Gee, what a novel idea. The problem is that that's not going to work with the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party demonizes people who make money publicly while they secretly are the party of the rich. The fundraiser cost $2,800 per person to attend and was held in front of around 100 Manhattan elites, according to The Hill. It was the second straight night that Biden had held a fundraiser in front of wealthy New Yorkers. Biden held a fundraiser at investment billionaire Jim Chano's $34 million home on Monday, which is attended by nearly 200 people. At that event, Biden struck a similar tone, praising the attendees for their success. You all are going to do fine, he said, according to the Washington Examiner, and you deserve to do fine because you've broken your necks and you've done well, and you've earned what you've got. Okay, well, if they've earned what they've got, is he trying to now position himself as the candidate that will not rob them of their just rewards, the fruits of their labor, all of that? Because obviously you have Elizabeth Warren who wants to do that. You have Bernie Sanders who wants to do that. You have Pete Buttigieg who wants to do that. You got Kamala Harris who wants to do that to a lesser extent, still wants to do it. So it's kind of interesting. Andrew Yang really wants to do it. Boy, he doesn't like rich people at all, in spite of the fact that he's like super rich. So it's kind of interesting that Joe Biden is taking this position. Now, he keeps, again, stepping in it when he makes comments about the segregationists and things of that nature. But if you have a guy going to the rich donor class of the Democratic Party and telling them, I'm not going to fundamentally change your lives, which means I'm not going to mess with your taxes all that much, and I'm not going to steal from you. I wonder what that means when people who are in the radical base of the party hear it. Anyway, we've got open lines coming up next. Start lining up your phone calls and your topics right now. You can also text those to us. We'll take those calls coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
I'm Dan Chrisman. I've been a painter all my life. Well, I think it's just in my blood.
You out of here? All right, I'm going to go get a refill. I'll be right back, folks. Oh, yeah? I'm doing a beer thing?
Yes. And some of those sting tips.
I'm not a big fan of having their house
Yes.
for a long period of time.
Oh, man, I got to figure out what
We come in and we have a larger crew, so the bedroom or
Something
break room
needy.
is not taking up space. We're making in and out
Pound
all day
bacon.
because we
You
have
can do
that
that now.
larger crew. We have that ability to get in and out. People don't, like I said, want to be tore up for a long time.
I'll walk you out.
Yeah, absolutely. Cleaning too. I mean,
I said it's not
a lot of people in the spring and in the fall, people are wanting to repaint great rooms, and bedrooms, and bathrooms, and just spruce it up. There's a bit. 574-633-0171 or ChrismanCustomPainting.com. If I put my name on the job, I want it to be a good product. It should last.
WTRC FM and HD1, Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your top stories right now.
Canceling a military operation. Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump today revealing more details about why he canceled a planned military response against Iran for shooting down an American drone. The president speaking to NBC's Chuck Todd for Meet the Press.
They shot down an unmanned drone, plane, whatever you want to call it. And here we are sitting with 150 dead people. That would have taken place probably within a half an hour after I said go ahead. And I didn't like it. I didn't think it was proportionate.
And says Secretary General Antonio Guterres' message to the U.S. and Iran to avoid anything that would escalate the current tense situation and to have nerves of steel. U.S.-based airliners are now barred from operating over parts of the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman in tensions near Iran. Airlines from around the world their flights to avoid the area. More troops from Texas are headed to that state's border with Mexico. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announcing that he's sending another 1,000 National Guard soldiers to the U.S.
You have to understand, because we're dealing with a corporate environment here too, there are things that can't be said on the stream. So we have to be real careful with the way that people are behaving on there. So if somebody starts getting into a line of commenting that we think is leading somewhere that could be problematic, we've got to take care of it. Yep, so we did. Kind of like the person that was on Twitch with the really inappropriate comments. So
Washington Post reporting the operation is slated to target up to 2,000 families facing deportation orders in up to 10 major cities. This is Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, at 95.3MNC.com.
I'm John Zimney in the MNC News Center. Among our top stories this afternoon, a 16-year-old boy has been arrested in connection with the deadly shooting of a South Bend teenager. The teenage boy turned himself into police at the St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Building and was fully cooperative with investigators. The 16-year-old was taken to the St. Joseph County Juvenile Justice Center and arrested on preliminary suspicion of reckless homicide. 17-year-old Darnell Tovar II died after being shot at a home on Woodhill Lane late Wednesday night. The shooting is believed to have occurred while the boys were recklessly handling a gun, as Carl Stutzman reporting. With tensions high after a black man was shot and killed by a white South Bend police officer, officials could turn to a special prosecutor to take on the case. But perhaps most frustrating evidence is a lack of body cam footage. Sergeant Brian O'Neill.
Casey, do you believe Q is real? I assume you're talking about QAnon. No, I don't buy into the QAnon stuff.
Nobody's even saying that the man just was out here plotting to kill somebody. Whatever happened, mistake, otherwise, whatever it is, just own up to it. Be accountable for what it was.
St. Joe County Prosecutor Kevin Cotter hadn't said officially
Phone.
if somebody will be brought in from outside the agency, but he did say it's a
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
This morning, South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg will be back.
Alrighty, I'll try to get you on there.
Buttigieg is scheduled to be back on the campaign trail in South Carolina tomorrow. An evacuation this morning at the Cass County Courthouse. This because of a report of a bomb threat. Employees remain at the site outside of the building while sheriff's deputies.
Somebody asked me if I was upset that the pride flag isn't Roy G. Biv, which is the official color palette of the rainbow. Like the real colors of the rainbow, not just rainbow colors. Seems a little trivial, but okay. I should say that, do you believe in Q? When somebody asks me that, I should say we are all Q. We are Q. That's how they said it in Star Trek, right? We are Q.
Skies are overcast and it's 73 at the 95.3 MNC studios.
Who's AFK?
News Talk 95.3 Michiana's news.
You AFK?
The day's top local news, updated around the clock, plus live streaming audio at 95.3MNC.com. From News Talk 95.3 Michiana's
What? There's no knife emotes? Out of gun.
News powered by Fast Signs. More than fast, more than
There's
signs.
actually 3 variants.
Visit fastsigns.com today.
There's the 8-stripe version, a 7-stripe version, and a 6-stripe version.
Are they supposed to be the different things that it represents?
No,
Is
the 7-stripe version doesn't have the hot pink because there was a lack of fabric.
There's a fabric shortage?
Yeah, so they made a 7-stripe version.
Interesting. Okay.
Roy G. Biv. And then there's a 6-stripe. The current version is a 6-stripe version that doesn't have indigo.
Got ya.
That changed it to royal blue. The turquoise and indigo was removed and changed to a straight royal blue, which is the current 1979 president.
Okay.
1978 San Francisco Gay Freedom Day was designed, but does not depict an actual rainbow. Rather, the colors of the rainbow are displayed as horizontal stripes spread at the top and violet at the bottom. It represents diversity of gays, lesbians around the world. In the original 8-color version, pink stood for sexuality, red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sun, green for nature, turquoise for art, indigo for harmony, and violet for spirit.
Says a lot about it. Whether it's for a thriving business,
So it's a hippie flag.
storing your sports equipment, or just the place you call home, that building holds something special.
Oh, yours is even better.
Beyond just its overall appearance.
I posted the drink purple emote, and then she came back with a coffee cup.
And work holder buildings and supply, they design all
So
types
Tracy
of
wins.
From homes, pole barns, churches, commercial, and many more.
I will say this. So I've had bacon, eggs, some steak, and onions today because they didn't give me my normal thing. And apparently, when Tim ordered my food from Monterey, he didn't hear that I was on the carnivore diet, so he got me something else. And I'm not hungry, so I mean I need to eat. I feel like I need to eat, but I'm not starving like I usually am.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO.
So first day of carnivore, it's going well.
Mortgage interest rates have dropped. So
It is going well.
buying a home, right now is the time to
So we got 9 people watching on Twitch right now, and we only have 2 commenting. But I want to thank the 9 people for watching. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much. Do appreciate that. I get a lot of subscribers on Twitch, like late at night. So I think people are watching it later in the day. And how many followers do I have right now?
For a record 9 years in a row, JD Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our
channel here.
rate shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com. For JD Power award information,
Oh, hell, I don't know. They got to get their stuff streamlined, man. Oh, well. Several. That's what I meant, followers. Sorry, not subscribers. I think I got 3 subscribers. Well, maybe more than that now. All right. Here we go.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Happy open lines. It is the final hour free-for-all. You can call about any topic you want right now. Doesn't matter what it is. This is open for everybody in the South Bend market. This is open to everybody in the Fort Wayne market. It really doesn't matter what you want to bring up. You are welcome to do that today. Whether you want to bring up a topic that you haven't heard me discuss, you want to address a comment that I made about something, or if you just wanted to ask a question or take me to task on something, that is all welcome during this final hour of the program for this week. I'm also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM. So I want to thank the Fort Wayne audience for joining us. I do want to thank our sponsors, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you mention me, you get half off your range time. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. Somebody said that traffic is stopped on the westbound bypass at State Road 23, which is weird. That never happens. So westbound bypass on State Road 23 for my MNC listeners, it is stopped. So thank you for the information. We do appreciate that. To the phone lines we go. Brenda, you're first up today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. So what's on your mind?
I heard you earlier in the week address the person who worked at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, I believe in New York City, and she said that she wasn't going to issue the licenses to illegal aliens.
Yeah, he's the clerk. It's a guy, and yeah, he said that he's not going to issue the license there, and he's asked for the city or the state to provide legal representation for when he gets sued, which he anticipates will happen.
Yeah, well, I heard that you went against what he said, and isn't it a federal law that they cannot get driver's licenses?
I don't think that it is. I think that's all a state thing.
Yeah, well, I'm against that. And
okay, I am too, philosophically.
There has to be some way for it to get to the Supreme Court, for the Supreme Court to make a decision on it. And the only way it's going to get there is if someone stands up and says, this is not right, and I'm not going to do it. And if you come against me, well, let's take it into court. Let's get a court decision on it. And I'm right in that person's corner and support that person. And I thought that you had kind of gone against that person.
Yeah, philosophically, I agree with him. The problem is that the duties of his job require him to issue these licenses because the state legislature passed it. The governor signed it into law. I'm not sure that there is a federal law that would apply here, unless, of course, now I will give this caveat. This could be where you're coming from. The Real ID Act, if these are Real ID Act compliant, that is a federal law. So that might be an interesting angle to pursue. Now, again, philosophically, I agree with him. You should not make life for illegal immigrants easy here. The idea, the idea is to make it difficult so they go home and then they go through the legal process of getting here. That's what I want.
It comes up that this is a good way for there to be voter fraud too. And remember how the Obama administration went against the state of Arizona when they were trying to get their own laws regarding illegal immigration, and the Obama administration shut them down, and basically they were only trying to do what the federal government already had in place.
Yeah.
And Obama said, no, you can't do it. But for things like this to stop, someone has to stand up. And I think this person is using a great deal of courage to stand up and say, hey, this is not right, and I'm not going to do it. And I mean, you have to start somewhere. And I give that person 100% support for standing up and doing that.
Yeah, I would prefer this come from a civilian group and that they would file a case as opposed to a government employee not fulfilling their duties. But I mean, again, I agree with what you're saying, and philosophically, like I said, we're in the same place. It's just that I was kind of pointing out that okay, this is your job, and if you're not going to perform the duties of your job, you can resign, and that's okay. And if you want to challenge it in court, that's all right, because now the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for his legal case.
I think that's what that person is wanting to do, is to get some way to have it challenged in court. And the civilian population evidently is not going to come forward and say something. So if it comes from someone who's working in the department, they know what's going on. And they can weigh it out, and maybe we can get a court decision where the courts will say, hey, if you're not a legal citizen, you can't have a driver's license. And because that person can use that driver's license for almost anything.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I thank you for taking my call. Thank
Not a
you
problem.
so much.
You bet. I appreciate it. You take care. And like I said, philosophically, totally agree that they shouldn't have those licenses. The arguments for them having it, again, the arguments are, well, it makes them easier to do these other things that they're not supposed to be allowed to do. So why do we make it easier? It doesn't help anything. And I know that we talked about Pete Buttigieg, and this publication said that the one signature win that he has that he doesn't talk about was giving IDs to illegal immigrants. It really doesn't help anything. It makes it more comfortable for them to be here, which is, again, counterproductive to what we actually want to have happen, which is ideally for them to self-deport and go back home. And then if they want to come back, go through the legal process to come back, where we all the time on this program cheer people who go through the legal process and become U.S. citizens. We're constantly sharing those stories and applauding them. And we have listeners who call. And I said the oath, this week, and it's amazing to see that. And we love seeing that. It's just when people don't do that, it becomes a bit of a problem. Somebody sent me a text, said, what's happening in Venezuela? Well, there's a couple of things happening. First of all, Guaido's been accused, I should say his envoys have been accused of embezzling aid funds. And Guaido is what they're calling the legitimate ruler of Venezuela, not Maduro, the dictator. And so they've been accused of embezzling some of the aid funds. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just been an accusation there. And President Trump appears to be just giving up on interest in Venezuela. Now, Guaido made a push, and he made a push to go ahead and get generals and the military behind him. And he got some, but ultimately, Guaido doesn't have the influence in Venezuela to get Maduro out. So if Maduro is going to go, it is going to have to be because foreign powers come in and take him out of power to install Guaido. Guaido is the legitimate leader of Venezuela per Venezuela's constitution. But Maduro is, again, after the previous conflict is not the right word, angst, if you will. He started putting people in prison. People are afraid. Venezuela is just continuing to collapse. But Trump's position on this is that Guaido would have our support, and we might be willing to lend military support and arm them and things like that. But he's got to show that he can actually generate enough support to overthrow Maduro, and he has not done that. So at this point in time, and like I said, a lot of this is just Venezuelans are just trying to find food. They're just trying to survive. You know, they're not interested in launching a revolutionary war yet. Right now, it is too fresh. They're just trying to survive, and they're not thinking about it would be okay to die for this cause yet. It's, you know, Venezuela was a thriving country just a couple of years ago. This is a huge change for them. Their mindset isn't going to be there yet. And so they're afraid. You know, they've been threatened with imprisonment and murder, and they're afraid. So Guaido is going to have to do more if he's going to get them to actually back him and then generate some support from the U.S. and other countries. But the president's not going to go in there and do regime change in there. So the president appears to be looking away from Venezuela until Guaido or somebody else is able to go ahead and generate the support of the masses, and the masses rise up against him, because that has not happened yet. All right, we got more open lines coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOA 107.5 FM.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the timetable in Niles. 25 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people.
I know, weird that there would be traffic issues on the bypass.
Yeah, 5 minutes late, westbound, halfway between 31 and 23.
Yeah.
Start dry. Saturday, partly cloudy, high upper 70s, but humidity rising and muggy.
I just put that into the
Yeah, so the Arizona law was quite possibly the cleanest bill I have ever seen written. And I said that at the time. There was literally nothing you could take issue with the Arizona law. Nothing you could. The Obama administration was totally dishonest in how they handled that. That was one of the most well-written pieces of legislation that I have ever seen. Ever seen. Tracy says that I think they should have them. They should register all of the illegal immigrants in their correct addresses. They'll be easier to find then. You know, a lot of people have said that, and you know, we want them to come out of the shadows, but to get them to come out of the shadows, you've got to make certain promises and concessions to them. So, I don't know. It's not a catch-22, but it seems like it's ineffective.
Did you turn on your old air conditioner and realize it just isn't cooling like it used to? Before it gets too hot, replace your old central air conditioner and furnace for as low as $20 a week, or 0% financing for 60 months with Home Comfort Experts Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Summer is when it seems like everyone's AC unit starts making funny noises, stops turning on, or creating hot and cold spots in your home. It's a nasty trend.
Michiana's news channel, would you like to talk to Casey?
It's time to replace. Home Comfort Experts
You all right? Can you do the first name, please?
Directly with the manufacturer for
Alrighty, I'll try to get you on there.
great payment plans. The savings on these units makes them almost free. If your current system is older than 10 years, you can replace your old central air conditioner and furnace with newer, more efficient ones that make it possible to actually end up even with payments and savings. Just call 255-4600 and get your new central air conditioner and furnace for $20 a week, or 0% financing for up to 60 months.
Somebody had to ask me about HARP. Do you believe in HARP? Well, HARP is real. It's just not real the way that conspiracy theorists say it's real, but it's a real program that was shut down in 2014, 15? That's funny though. God, this audio is so bad. So bad. I don't know.
He changed it, I think, he changed his commercial, I think, because his phone number changed.
The number changed. Yeah.
Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-56.
So MSU has approved an investigation into Nassar's handling. So I guess Michigan State's going to be investigating how they handled the accusations against Nassar because they protected him for a while.
Purchase our products to 21 plus. Stop the sale of non-tobacco and non-menthol based flavored products to traditional retail.
For years, scientists studying the upper reaches of the atmosphere have turned to a remote Alaskan facility known as the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, or HARP, for information. One of the world's most powerful transmitting facilities, the HARP transmitter array has provided information about some of the most basic natural processes that occur at the edge of the atmosphere. But conspiracy theorists about its motives have long plagued the facility. Now, in an attempt to dispel some of these wild ideas, the researchers who run the station are holding an open house. That was in 2016, though.
June, take 20% off. Mention Radio 20 and get 20% off any item in the store. Refresh your home with stylish finds from Court Furniture Clearance Center. Go to courtfurnitureoutlet.com today.
Join Silver Birch Assisted Living and Always Best Care for a cookout Friday, June 28th from 11 to 2. The cookout is open to all and will serve free lunch for all police, fire, and EMT responders.
I didn't realize Jules making their product 21 plus accessible.
Silver Birch Living. Everyone is welcome. Lunch is
Okay.
just $5. There will be yard games, prizes,
When they're supposed to be a smoking alternative, so they're
just off
taking
the corner
out
of Edison and Hickory for Always
access
Best Care
to
cookout Friday,
3
June
years of
28th.
smokers.
So they're just doing it proactively because that's where all the free legislation is going. And they've specifically been
They're trying to keep it
targeted.
out of kids' hands.
Yeah, they're specifically being targeted by name, so they have to do what they can to get out of it.
I don't blame them. I'm just like, that's.
What's that?
I don't blame them.
No, they've got to do that for their business model at this point because politicians are trying to kill them off. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. By the way, I want to thank Angie from the live stream. She was joining us today. Angie's a friend anyway, but she was in studio for a couple of hours hanging out with us earlier. And she was also at Pass the Mic earlier today with a lot of you, by the way, on the live stream who were there. Thank you so much for coming out and celebrating the once a quarter event we have with Mexican food and politics and everything else. And thank you to Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill for hosting that for us. I'm also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. Every Friday in the last hour of the program, we do a final hour free-for-all, which is open lines. You can call about any issue. You can also text those issues to me if you'd like. 574-2595. 953 is the phone number. That's 2595953. Back to the phone lines we go. Tony, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you very much. Hey, I have a crazy theory for you.
Oh, geez. Here we go. Okay.
I'm not in the habit of helping Democrats, but I think a Trump re-election is the best thing that could happen to Democrats.
Okay.
I think it will push the party back to its DLC days of the 90s.
So what you're saying is...
I think they'll abandon all the lefties.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I've
think
heard
they'll
this
see the
theory...
writing on the wall,
Yeah.
and they'll see that this isn't working.
I've heard this theory before, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. People said the same thing about Bush's reelection because they went so crazy against President Bush in his first term that they figured if anybody voted for him, you would have to be insane, right? Because there's a media blitz about how he lied and people died and all of this other stuff. And I don't remember when Katrina happened, but it was just a full-on blitz against the guy. And then he was reelected, and they were.
This group even makes them look moderate.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. But I've heard this theory before that if he gets reelected, they're going to have to reassess what they're doing, right? And here's what I think is going to happen. I think the AOCs, I think they're going to take power if that happens. I think they are going to push people like Nancy Pelosi out as best they can anyway. And they're going to show that if Pelosi hadn't have stood in our way, if Schumer hadn't have stood in our way, if these people hadn't have stood in our way, we would have won. But they stood in our way. They wouldn't impeach. And that's what I think is going to happen. So I'm on the opposite end. I think they're going to go crazier.
I just don't think they have the base for it yet. There's still too many people 40, 45, 50 and older that vote. That they just don't have that base yet.
Did you hear me talk about the poll? Was it yesterday or the day before? So they did the poll. Okay, so they did a poll of the Democratic Party, and they found that 75% of the Democratic Party want steady, consistent leadership, and only 25% want a radical new agenda, which, of course, everybody with the exception of maybe Biden and somewhat Elizabeth Warren, everybody in the Democratic field right now is running on a radical agenda. So only 25% of their party supports that. 75% are opposed to it. There's far more moderate Democrats in their party than there are fringe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And this is why I keep telling people, your neighbors are not, they're not Antifa, and they don't think you're neo-Nazis, even though you might disagree on politics. It's just the crazies get on TV. And, the rest of us, we can get along, have disagreements, and still enjoy ourselves and be friends and that sort of stuff. So I think that's where most people are. What we have to do, though, is we've got to get away from this tribalist mentality if we're still going to vote for them, because at least they're my crazies and not the other people's crazies. That's where I'm concerned, because I don't really see people doing that. I hope you're right, by the way. I really do. I wish we were at a point in our history where both parties were great. Maybe even there was a third great party, and we were deciding between several really awesome people. And it just depended on what was happening in the world and the country at the time on which one's leadership would be best for that situation. That's what I really wish we had. Because we used to have that. I mean, the Republican and the Democrat used to be, generally pretty good people, good ideas. They loved America, hated terrorists, hated bad guys, hated communists. And now we're just not like that at all. And I would love to return back to those days where it was a difficult decision. I really would.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I said, I do. I hope he's right. I 100% hope he's right. Linda, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hi, Casey.
Hi there.
I'm going to have to agree with you a little bit. Whether or not Trump wins re-election or they get a Democrat in there, I think the left is going to double down.
Yeah, I just don't see right now. I think they're already positioning Pelosi as an obstructionist to their progressivism, right? Yeah. So I can really see them making a power move. Now, it's entirely possible that Skeletor crushes them. I suppose that Pelosi could do that. But she
have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, she I mean, look, she's getting older. Her mind is not great. I don't care if people like Pelosi or not. There's something wrong with her. And we're not sure what it is yet, and it might right now be a minor issue, but it's clearly creeping in and affecting her mind. So she's not going to be around forever, and eventually there's going to be those radicals that are sitting there, the Maxine Waters and the Sheila Jackson Lees and that sort of stuff. So,
oh God, she's another one.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Ocasio-Cortez actually isn't half bad compared to some of the other ones that have been in there for a couple of years too. So, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope you're wrong, but I see them doubling down and getting more aggressive.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, I do too.
Yeah. All right, Linda. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. More open lines coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and covering for Pat Miller on Newstalk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.
For over 20 years, the liberals in Washington have promised lower drug prices.
All right. Jimtown.
The liberals are opposing the rebate rule that would immediately lower drug prices for seniors. Thankfully, President Trump and the conservatives have a better way, lowering prescription drug prices.
Oh, Blue's finally home too. Awesome.
On real competition, not government control. Now, Congresswoman Jackie Walorski is working with President Trump. And on January 1st, seniors will start receiving discounts as much as 30% when filling their prescriptions. Patients need Congress to protect the rebate rule, so the discounts intended for seniors get to seniors. Call Congresswoman Jackie Walorski at 800-756-6191. Urge her to keep fighting for the rebate rule to lower drug prices for America's seniors. Paid for by American Action Network.
What's the difference between a bet from Elkhart Betting and a national brand? Two things.
Oh man, I keep forgetting to check my phone.
Our materials and construction are the same as the national brands, but because we're factory direct, we eliminate warehouses and middlemen. So the Elkhart Betting everyday price is less than sale prices at other stores. Like our two-sided queen sleep set for just $299. Get the most bet for your money. By factory direct at Elkhart Betting. Find out more at elkhartbetting.com.
Sun Services is your local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Here's owner Brian Teray talking about their service agreements.
We call it our preferred customer program. It's more than just the maintenance. We come out biannually, spring and fall, do safety check, cleaning, run carbon monoxide check, and then throughout the season you get additional benefits. You get no overtime fees, discounts on repairs, and our priority scheduling.
Give Sun Services a call today, 574-271-5010. Your trusted, local, independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
I'm trying to coordinate picking up my van from Z-Bar. Ow. All right, so what else do we got here? About a 5-minute delay on the US 20 bypass westbound, about 2 minutes west of US 31. It's a 5-minute delay. It's not big enough for me to mention.
Investigating vandalism at the memorial where Logan was shot. This after somebody spray painted the words "Good shoot" onto the pavement. And new information about a 15-year-old boy.
Is anybody still on YouTube? Oh, there we go.
Authorities say 21-year-old Tyler Kiger.
Wow, a Yang 2020 bumper sticker. That is yeah, I haven't seen one of those yet. He's polling at like 1% or something. It's a miracle he's even getting on the stage, to be honest with you.
The father says Kiger didn't intend to harm his brother. It was the victim who called 911 and told the dispatcher he had head pain after his brother hit him.
Matt Walsh at the Daily Wire. Doctors can now operate on babies in utero to repair birth defects. Science is rendering abortion obsolete. It's true, it is.
Iran is probably the best way to diffuse tensions and avoid any escalation. President Trump planned a retaliatory strike after Iran shot down a U.S. drone, but called it off, fearing mass casualties.
That would have taken place probably within a half an hour after I said go ahead. And I didn't like it. I didn't think it was...
Indiana man catfished Alaska woman, promised her millions of dollars to kill her friend. I saw the headline for this earlier, but I didn't know that the guy was from Indiana. So he pretended to be a millionaire. I think he offered her $9 million to kill her, was it her boyfriend or whatever it was?
Baltimore, Denver, Houston, Los Angeles, New Orleans, New York City, and San Francisco.
Fox's Kevin Battle. This is Fox News.
No, woman.
Your air conditioning professional's first warning forecast.
Clouds increase this evening. There could be a
Good Lord, people.
mostly dry overnight as temperatures fall towards the lower 60s. Saturday now looks mostly dry. Good news. Highs upper 70s, partly cloudy. Showers and thunderstorms return Sunday and Monday with the heavy rain.
Yang 2020 sticker. There's Pelosi. I'm telling you, she's had some laser work to her face done recently. Telling you.
When we say food with attitude, what we mean is the
She's had like a chemical peel or something.
in Mishawaka, surrounded by a craft beer, fine wine,
High and possibly by driving, so only listen. Famous last words. Could truly be last if I am stupid enough to try to comment and drive. Don't do that. But we're happy to have you out there in the audience as always.
and his mood will always satisfy your taste buds. Visit Tuesday nights for half-price wine bottles, Wednesday for $2 beer night. Visit Thursdays to check out Roman's Ridiculous List, or upgrade your evenings Tuesdays through Saturdays with the atmosphere of Temper Grill, with a perfect backdrop for any occasion. Reservations required, 21 and up. Explore our menu, buy gift cards, or make a simple dinner reservation at tempergranger.com. Unplug and relax with a truly...
The laser may have hit her brain. Is it just me or does the Fox News break during the commercials seem a little left-leaning in their news delivery? Wasn't listening.
From the Fox Business Network, the major averages closing down for the day, but not...
Suppose it depends on who's doing the news.
As investors were focusing on U.S. tensions with Iran and prospects for a resolution of the U.S.-China trade conflict. Among the gainers today, energy companies as oil prices rose, with the Dow falling 30%.
Has that channel been off all day? It's been off all day, right?
And four more U.S. states joining an unusual effort by 10
Should be back in a moment.
General, led by New York and
3 hours later.
to prevent T-Mobile's acquisition of Sprint. The state's filing a lawsuit aimed at stopping the deal that they say would cost subscribers.
Yeah, dude, that's an interesting bumper sticker. I know that Tim Pool likes Andrew Yang.
U.S. stores and an e-commerce site, according to media reports. The new stores are expected to be a third of the size of its traditional stores, but with play areas and other experiences.
It's just, I can't get past the phone call. I can't get past the basic arithmetic issue of a universal basic income plan.
All right, can I get your first name, please? All right, I'll try to get you on there.
The experts in Optima Tax Relief will fight
Yeah.
to get you the best possible tax treatment, and they have an A+ rating with the BBB. Call Optima for your free consultation.
Call 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744.
Optima Tax Relief.
Here we go.
Electric Studios.
Half hour.
First step to the final phase. Industrial.
And I get to get on the motorcycle.
What? It's Casey.
Half an hour, then I get to get on the motorcycle. Yo. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOA 107.5 FM. Want to thank the Fort Wayne audience for joining us as well. And I do want to thank our sponsors, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you need ammo and accessories for your boomsticks, that is the best place to go. Plus, you get 10% off your store purchases. You get half off your range time, and you get listener-exclusive discounts on firearms. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for contact information. And when you're out there, don't forget to wish Paul good luck in getting well. He should be back full-time next week, we hear, after his back surgery. So things seem to be going really well with him. Okay. The final hour free-for-all is going. We are live streaming at youtube.com/Casey the host. Make sure you go click the thumbs up button. Click the bell icon to get notified when we upload new videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you prefer Twitch, go to twitch.tv/Casey the host, and you can watch and follow or subscribe there. All right. We have some calls. We'll get those calls, and then I have some text messages that I have to address, and we'll get those text messages hopefully before the end of the program. Jeff, welcome to the program. How are you?
Hey, Casey. How are you?
Hanging in there, man. What's up?
All right. Hey, just a quick question for you as someone who was a member of the military.
Mm-hmm.
With this recent almost attack on Iran.
Yeah.
What's that like for you to be that close and be all deployed and then, okay, stop?
Sucks.
Because I assume it's a carrier group, right?
Well, I assume that they were using the carrier group that was there. I mean, that's my assumption. They didn't tell us exactly what the assets.
Been around anyway.
Correct.
And and they had aircraft in the air and they were ready to go. And of course, there would have been a response, I would imagine. I mean, they have a modern Navy, right?
Right. Well, I mean, yes-ish.
What do the commanders do? Like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, let's come right to 180 and go away.
Have you heard of the term "hurry up and wait"?
Well, yes.
Okay.
That's a common military thing. I just can't think of anything historically. I'm not a historian, but I can't think of anything. It's like we went in and then like, okay, never mind. You almost wonder.
Oh, it happens a lot.
Really, was that brilliant, or was it ridiculous? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to get your perspective.
I don't know if I would say brilliant or ridiculous either way. This actually happens quite a bit. Give you an example. We were called up under Bill Clinton to invade Iraq. Okay, and so we couldn't tell our family. We're all ready to go. We're all geared up, and we're like, "What the hell's going on?" And then eventually they tell us like, "Okay, he tried to assassinate the president, former president." And so we're like, oh, okay. Well, that coupled with the VX gas stuff that we knew and some other things, we're like, okay, guess we're getting ready to go, right? And as we're just waiting, obviously the process has to happen. Equipment's got to be loaded on the planes and everything else. You get ready to go, and then they go, all right, everybody's going home tonight. Everything's been called off. And you're like, ah. So there's you get the exhilaration of it, and then you're deflated, but also relieved.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, they were actually in the theater. They were there.
Correct.
And now they're not going to attack. And wouldn't that open up them up to like an attack of opportunity. You know, like, oh, hey, there they are, and they're kind of flat-footed. Let's get them.
No.
Okay.
The Iranians know where the carrier group is. The carrier group is going to protect itself. That's not an issue. The president has said that basically he would have issued the attack. He was 10 minutes away from issuing the attack, and the attack would have happened half an hour after that. So they're close assets, no doubt about it. So everybody's getting the briefing. You're going over the mission details of what's happening. Okay, this is what we're going to do. These are our targets. This is what the mission specs are. This is what we are expected to do. Everybody gear up. Let's get ready. Run through your final checks, all of that stuff. And then you get the word that you're not going. Okay, like I said, this happens quite a bit. So they're going to be used to it. And they're going to go, all right, cool. We're going to, those who are on duty are going to do whatever they're supposed to normally do on duty. Those who are able to go ahead and go back to whatever off time they have, they get their gear off, they go back. It is what it is. There's always a defense thing, especially with the carrier group. The carrier groups are heavily defended.
Oh, sure.
So it's nothing that is overly stressful, like I think the public would think, just because they're so used to that. You get frequent, okay, we're going to go do this, and then you get called off. Oh, we're going to go do this, and you're going to get called off. They drill that. I mean, so, you're able to control that. And usually with the adrenaline kind of happens mostly last minute stuff. You get that rush at the beginning, like, oh, we're going, then you kind of calm down, you go through the motions. And then as you get close to target, then all of a sudden you start getting really adrenaline riddled. But for the most part, you're pretty calm. Most people are. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we're going, oh my God, when I was asleep, we were almost at war with Iran, and now suddenly we're not, and I'm glad for that.
Yeah. Well, I think the president's perspective, Jamie called earlier and he said, I think like a lot of people, I would have been okay with the strike, but I'm also happy that it didn't happen. So, and I think most people are that way, just because everybody kind of knows that Iran sucks and that Iran needs to be dealt with. But was it worth killing all of those people at 3 different sites, risking a larger war for a drone? And the president felt that no, it wasn't worth it. If it had been an American that was killed or a ship that had been attacked or something, different ball game, but it was a drone. This is basically a flying robot. And so we don't have to escalate here. But the Iranians are saying that he called them and told them, hey, just so you know, we almost just blew you to snot. So, and basically he said that, we need to sit down and talk and negotiate this. We need to figure out what's going on. And he's got some new sanctions going on him. So who knows? Maybe by calling them and telling them that scares them a little bit. Iran's not foolish. Okay. I know that they ramp up the rhetoric just like Saddam did. They know they're not going to win. So they're not dumb. They understand what they're up against. So there's going to be legitimate fear with the leaders that are reasonable there. And there are, intelligent, reasonable leaders in Iran. That does exist. And they're going to be advising against it. Now, the question is, are they the ones in power, or are the absolute crazies the one making the decision? That's the real the real thing there. So,
and every indication I've seen is that the Iranian people themselves are pretty cool.
Well, and here, you got to. I was just talking about this on the live stream today, not on the show, but it wasn't that long ago. Iran was a prospering country.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful place to live. Wonderful advanced technology. It was a tourist attraction of Americans, by the way, and Europeans. They loved going to Iran.
Sure.
And a lot of the population there remembers that. And the young population there doesn't like that they have to be covered up, women in particular. The Iranian people, like I know several Iranian people and Egyptian people, and they're just cool folks. They really are. So you're going to have your crazies and your religious zealots. You're going to have that. But in general, I think the Iranian people would be pretty happy if there was a regime change. I'm not saying an invasion regime change. I'm just saying if it stopped being an Islamic state and just became a Muslim country, I think that most people would be pretty happy with that.
Well, and the best way for them to do it is for them to do it themselves.
Correct.
I hate nation building.
Yeah. Messy business.
We can help the people do it, then great.
Yeah.
Wow. But here we are.
And I have no doubt, if a civil war broke out in Iran, I have no doubt that we would have people there helping them and we'd be arming them. I have no doubt about it. Yeah, no doubt about that at all. And that would be the smart move. But that has to happen. If you're going to get involved, there's nothing wrong with wanting to help people who are oppressed, but they have to show you the initiative that they're willing to fight.
And they got to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be propping them up forever. And who needs
that? Exactly. And unfortunately, the United States is still dealing with President Bush Sr. not helping the Kurds when he told the Kurds to rebel. And they did. And then he didn't help them. So, the U.S. is still dealing with that skepticism from people when the U.S. says, we'll back you if you act. They remember that. And it was a huge tactical error by Bush Sr., huge tactical error. And now we're unfortunately facing the repercussions of that. If we hadn't have made that decision and we had consistently backed people that we had encouraged to fight for their own country, Venezuela might be different now. Cuba might be different now. I'm sure that Iraq would be different. And probably Iran. And Egypt actually did change for the better, but that wasn't exactly bloodless.
Right.
So
you're talking Cuba because of the.
I think if the Cuban people understand that they're going to have support from the outside instead of just the shadow stuff, I think that they might be more willing to stick up for themselves and throw out dictators, especially when Castro died. I think they're more inclined to go and get rid of the new guy.
Sure.
But again, we're still dealing with that tactical error and people don't trust us. And frankly, I can't blame them. So.
No. Okay.
Right.
Well, great. I just wanted to get your perspective.
Sure thing. Hey, man, appreciate the call. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and of course, covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Yeah, I think that Trump is playing a game of chess as well. I agree with that. Yeah, Yang is a super leftist. He wants the $1,000 a month universal basic income, so everybody gets paid $1,000 a month. Yeah, he is a huge lefty. Nice guy, but yeah, he's not AOC crazy, right? He pretty cool, laid back dude, speaks well, has some interesting ideas, just mathematically problematic ideas.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Alrighty.
Oh, Frank.
Alrighty, I'll try to get you on there, Bob.
No, Russia knows too. The Russians have known they couldn't beat us since the Cold War, and the KGB people who have now spoken publicly about it, they have always said, we always knew that we had a huge disadvantage. The only way that we were ever going to win was to beat the other countries in Europe so fast that the United States would say, all right, well, we're okay here, we're just going to hang out. So the Russians know exactly what they're dealing with. Now, it wouldn't necessarily be an easy conflict with the Russians by any means, but they understand what they're up against. Okay, Tracy, thank you. Appreciate that.
Ask yourself, has my business grown beyond our current resources? Are we pushing our electrical setup too hard and running the risk of shutdowns? Does the lighting in my facility create a safe working environment for my staff? One call does it all. 574-522-4444. From plant wiring, service upgrades, energy efficient.
I think Russia, Danelle, I think Russia would do what they did with Iraq, and they would sit there, they would posture about it, but they're not going to get involved. Poland is extremely important. By the way, did you see that there was a Polish politician who sent a really scathing letter to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez today? Poland knows something about concentration camps.
No.
Just a little bit, just a smidgen. They weren't happy with her at all.
My salespeople will spend quite a bit of time trying to figure out what they're wanting to do with an RV, where they're wanting to go, how they're going to use it, and we try to make it real. I don't like high pressure. I don't like having my arms twisted. I don't like all of the extra costs at the end. We quote a price. That's what it is. We don't play all the typical used car salesman games. And like I said, we do it right. If it's 2 miles north of the bypass on Highway 19 in Elkhart, or at internationalrvwholesalers.net.
I don't know. I haven't seen that video. Haven't seen
This
it.
is Dr. Roger Pacino. Did you know that not only has Afton been voted the top dentist in Michiana a record 18 times, but also voted the best place to work in the entire area? If our employees feel that way, just imagine what that means for your experience. That's right. If they love their job, it means better care for you and your family. You may have heard our slogan, patient-friendly dentistry. At Afton, it's real, not just words. We'll do everything possible.
Well, I know that the goal of the DNC is to get half of them to drop out. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. It'd be nice if half of them dropped out, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen. If I had to guess, I would say 6 to 8 would possibly drop. That is me. The latest robotic technology. Oh, wait, I can't do impressions. Hold on. Not allowed to do impressions. What? I don't even see where it's at. They don't even, it's not even like on the page. It's hidden. It's buried. It is a buried ad. Wow. What's the point of burying an audio ad? I think 6 is a safe number, but 4 of them didn't get to the debate stage. A couple of them will probably perform real bad, not generate any kind of momentum afterwards.
Protect dreamers from deportation. The Dream and Promise Act provides a pathway to citizenship.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the video, man. I don't know.
Brought to our country as children. Congressman Fred Upton did the right thing. Voted to protect the dreamers. Call Congressman Upton.
I might very well put that on the blacklist. I think that would be funny, putting that beer on the blacklist.
Thank you for standing up for the dreamers. Paid for by forward.us.
Get breaking news and weather online on 953mnc.com. From News Talk 95.3 Michigan.
All right, here we go. Last segment. Still about 50. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson, about ready to land the car on the boat. The last segment of the program today. It's been a busy week, though. Really feels like it's been a busy week. Also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. Appreciate all of you for joining us today. If you haven't done so yet, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I made a call to everybody. I've got over 7,300 followers on Facebook, and I only have 1,800 followers on YouTube. So if I could get everybody from my Facebook page to subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be really awesome. I would appreciate that immensely. And everybody has a Google account, it's got a YouTube account, so I know you're out there. So if you could go to youtube.com/Casey the host, that's CASEY, I would really appreciate you giving me a sub. And again, thumbs up on videos that you like, comment on stuff that you like. I do appreciate that. All right. We have some more callers here. Bob, welcome to the program.
Hey, Casey, thanks so much for having me. I know we're short on time. I'm going to be quick.
Okay.
You were in the military. Mm-hmm. I align with you on politics on a lot of things. Mayor Pete was in the military. Mm-hmm. I do not align with him. But you know what? I wanted to take this opportunity at the end of the show to tell all of you guys that were in the military, thank you so much. I think that the citizens of this country do not fully understand what you guys go through. No matter where you fall down at politically, you guys are out there defending our country, man, and I can go to work and raise my kids because of people like you. And I love you guys, man. I have absolute 100% respect for you guys. And I think that in situations like this with Iran, we need to remember the troops and all the people listening that are veterans and in the military. We, the normal folk, got nothing but love for you, man. I have absolute respect, and I wish you the best weekend, man. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Very kind words. We appreciate that. Thank you. All right, you take care. Look, I mean, it's, the military is it's the largest employer in the country, by the way. The military is just like any other large company. There's a whole cross-section of society that's in there. Everybody from sexualities, race, gender, political points of view, religions, all of that are in the military. It just so happens that the combat elements tend to lean politically right. But that's not the case for the non-combat elements. A lot of them lean moderate or lean left, that sort of thing. But like I said, it says a lot about a person who joins the military in general, especially when you're in the middle of a conflict. I think it says a lot about a person. I've paraphrased Lieutenant Colonel Randolph White, who is now a full colonel, by the way. He said that to a graduating class from Fort Benning Infantry School. And it just, it was a great time in my life. I wish I had more time in, to be perfectly honest with you. I regret some of the decisions that I made not going back in. But as time goes on, you make decisions with your life, and it is what it is, and you have to accept it. But it was a great time in my life. It really was. I just absolutely love the military. Love it. Regret not spending more time in there. All right. So somebody had asked me if I believe in HARP via text message. Well, the answer is you have to believe in HARP because HARP is real. Now, HARP, while being real, doesn't mean that it controls the weather or is a mind control device or anything of that nature. But HARP was real. It's shut down now. But they actually had a public panel where they invited everybody who was buying into conspiracies about HARP to actually come and talk to the people who work on HARP and actually figure out what it really does and what the purpose of HARP is and everything else. It's in Fairbanks, Alaska, by the way. And it is, it's kind of interesting. It has 2.6 stars with 691 Google reviews, and none of those people have been in the facility. Just because they think it's some conspiratorial mind control, weather control thing. No, I don't buy into any of the conspiracy theories about HARP. But HARP is real, so yes, I do, in fact, believe in HARP. So it's because it's a real thing. It's a real program. Although I think they shut it down a few years ago. All right. What else do we have here? We had somebody who had asked me, I think this was on Discord, had asked me a question about congressional pay and should members of Congress get paid the average of their state rather than getting the $175,000 for the House and more for the Senate. And then, of course, you get more for committees. And we had addressed that before. I think it's a really good question. But here's the thing. If you have to get the average salary for the state, then as a member of Congress, you are motivated to push for a higher minimum wage, aren't you? Because you want to get everybody's wages up. So then I think that leads to the government encroaching upon private enterprise and telling them what people can be paid when it's really just a ploy to get your own salary up to higher levels. So not necessarily in on that, but I do totally agree with what people are saying there, and I can understand why they would be thinking that way. I want to thank everybody for listening to the program this week and, of course, watching us on the live streams at YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host on both of those platforms. Of course, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Casey the Host as well. You have a wonderful weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you on Monday.
What do you need done on your house? The basement could be finished. The kitchen needs updating. Your deck is not the way you want it. Or maybe you just want an entirely new room.
I kind of looked with the state, Indiana State representatives do. They do half a year, and then they don't get paid for the other half, so they have to go do vocational stuff.
Yeah.
They're actually in touch with the people they're representing.
Oh, they love touching the people they're representing. I mean, some of them do. We keep hearing rumors. Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen the plume of smoke right now, to be perfectly honest with you, Tracy. I want to get on that bike so bad. What is today? Friday, 21st, June 21. Get my daily show prep published. All right, any last minute questions or comments before I get out of here? And we'll go ahead and we'll bounce. So actually I had a really good crowd considering what I usually have on Twitch today. So thank you very much for everybody on Twitch who was hanging out today. I appreciate it. Had a lot of people watching. Yep, there's tons of people out there not paying attention. It's the first day of summer, and of course you got to deal with all of that. Oh, I love that my tag suggester for my website had cocked and loaded on there. That makes me happy. Just so you know.
Not proportionate to shooting down an unmanned drone. I'm in no hurry. There remain serious questions about what changed the president's mind.
All right. Anything else other than the just be careful and don't die Casey bit? I just want, look, pass this on to my wife and kids if I do croak, okay? I died happy, all right? Just so you know. If I die on my motorcycle, it was worth it, all right? Just convey that to them so they are okay. Well, they won't be okay. My wife will still be pissed. But just let them know that I was happy. I knew the risk. I accepted the risk. I realize it. I hope I wasn't at fault. If I was at fault, be pissed at me. If I wasn't at fault, sue the snot out of everybody else. Sue everybody. But know that I was happy. All right. We're done now, man. We're out of here. Okay, everybody. I appreciate you joining me. I'm going to go ahead and get on the motorcycle and get out of here. I got to get home, and we're going to bounce out. So you take care.